Some coffee's fast, but not fresh. Some coffee's fresh, but only after a long wait. Speedway coffee is made fresh at the push of a button, hot or iced, so you can have fresh coffee your way, right away. Get 2 times the points when you buy any size hot or iced coffee drink with Speedy Rewards.
Hear that? Is that America cheering or a sausage patty sizzling to perfection? It's time to cheer for Egg McMuffin and fresh cracked eggs at McDonald's. It's time to wake up to the aroma of freshly baked biscuits and treat yourself to a real honest-to-goodness morning meal. Breakfast, it's on at McDonald's. Now enjoy a large iced coffee for just $2. Add a breakfast sandwich to make a meal. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
PWI, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they're kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rule. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Just sipping on a few beers and here on the Twitch, trying to be entertaining and get people to check us out. We're starting with double digits as we go on the air, so that's always encouraging. We're growing this thing slowly but surely, and pretty soon, we're going to be counter programming in the demo for real. We do this on Monday nights, so
yeah. I'm sure that Vince McMahon is worried about us. I wonder how they're going to counter program us. Yeah, man, I'm doing all right. I feel burnt out from wrestling. I just felt it while watching the Stardom show and just finished about 45 minutes to an hour ago. I feel it. Yeah, I mean, outside of that, not too much. I guess we should start with this because we'll just start with the good things first, and then we'll move on to the wrestling. The NBA 75th anniversary team came out over the last week, over a period of days, and basically what they did was they took the 50th anniversary team from 1996 and put all those slots over. And added Dominique Wilkins because he should have been on the first team anyway. He should have been on the 50th team anyway. So basically, all of the players that they had their primes from after or from basically the mid 90s to now, there were 24 spots for them, and I kind of felt like they had. Me and Rich have a disagreement. Rich feels like best players should make the list. And I think that's a different list than the greatest players. I think it's built on your accomplishments and your domination in whatever era you played in relative to that era. I don't think you should make a list as a 50 list and then all of a sudden, like, you got to yank people out and say, get the fuck out of here, as if, like, it's a different list than it's a greatest list, not a best list, and greatest encompasses the whole entire history of the league. If we only have like 2 people or 3 people from the 60s, then what's the point of even doing the list? It's not a look through history. It's like obviously T-Mac is better than Bill Russell. Bill Walton too, but you get my point. So for me, seeing that they kept the 50, added Dominique for 51 and then 24, I thought for the 24 they had from, basically our childhood to now, I thought it was a pretty good list of those 24. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's hear you go on and say who all needs to be yanked off the list to be made room for more current players. Like T-Mac, like Chris Bosh, like Klay Thompson, like Kyrie Irving, like I don't know who else you had in mind, but those are the 4 that I remember you mostly mentioned as people that should be on there or should be above.
All right.
Dwight Howard, someone that is the biggest snub of the list, obviously.
Yeah, that's tough for him. So I guess we can I'll just go through the names and see what we got. Of course, we got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, no objection. Ray Allen, no real objection.
There's no objection. He's a top 50-ish player all time in NBA, based on resume.
Giannis, no objection. Carmelo, no objection. Tiny Archibald, no objection. Paul Arizin. All right. What we got on Paul Arizin? I don't know much. Apparently, I think he was a player for the Atlanta Hawks, if I'm not mistaken. Not seeing how Paul Arizin is better than Klay Thompson. Charles Barkley, no objection. Rick Barry, no objection. Baylor, same. Dave Bing can get the fuck off this list. He's a loser. He was just a dude that scored a bunch of points with a receding fro. So I really ain't got none for Dave Bing. I think he can go. Larry Bird, no objection. Kobe Bryant, no objection. Obviously, Wilt, no objection. Bob Cousy, he couldn't even dribble with his left hand, but I will go no objection. Dave Cowens, no objection. Hold on. I think we need to stop. Sir. I
think, are you going to bring up the conversation I told you about my uncle from back in a couple years ago about how you said that like KG could not handle Dave Cowens? I was like, Dave Cowens used to like during the off season in Boston he was a taxi driver. No, KG, he could do nothing with fucking KG. And a lot of people think that he was really just like a guy that played really, really hard and didn't have much skill. And like, you compare him to like, Kareem and like the other guys, the other great centers of the 70s, and like Kareem used to whoop his ass. So like, I get why he was on the team. He was on 2 champions?
I think he won an MVP as well.
Yeah, he did win an MVP. So like, I'm not like, for me personally, like I don't have a problem if you say like, unless you're a Derrick Rose situation, if you win MVP, you're in. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. All I know is about Dave Cowens is once he would have seen Pau Gasol, he would have called for the authorities. He would have seen Pau Gasol and be like, hold on, he's 7 foot tall, he doesn't back down, and he can score with his left or right hand. And face up on me. What do? Send the squad car. Should zap this alien. What's wrong with y'all?
Oh man.
Billy Cunningham, no real objection there. Steph Curry, of course, no objection. Anthony Davis, no objection. Dave DeBusschere.
But here's the thing: there's a lot of people that think that this is too soon to put him on there.
I think I kind of agree with that.
I disagree. Like, like if you are the second best player on a finals team, and
actually he's been in the league for how long now? Almost 10 years, right?
This is like year 9, I think. Okay, let's see. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is year 9 for him. He's made like half a dozen first team All NBAs. He's finished 3rd place in MVP. He's had another top 5 finish in MVP. Like, he's a defensive player of the year contender in his prime, or when he's on the floor. He's the most skilled big man we've ever seen in the world. Like, for me, he's in. Like, if not for like a weird rebounding snafu at the end, like he's on that 42-point Bill Simmons playoff club for the year they won the title. It'd have been him and LeBron both in it. So for me, it's like, yeah, that guy's fucking awesome. That guy's been awesome. He was on a bad team for a long time.
Yeah, I don't have a real issue with him on it.
Like, here's the thing for me. If he's not going to be on it, then like it'll be like a Gary Payton situation where it's like, he's just going to be on the fucking next team. Put him on now. Like, maybe you don't think he's like the Shaq exception, where like right. Shaq just, first 3-4 in the beginning of year 4, he's already in. But like, he's going to make the 100 team.
Right. Dave DeBuscher, 70s Nick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got number 70s Nick except for Walt Frazier.
You got Walt Frazier, you got Reed, you got him, you got Jerry Lucas, you got Earl Monroe. I'm sorry, I'm not putting that many of y'all in here if Klay Thompson can't get on the fucking list. And the way they've actually dominated the fucking decade, not just like won it twice and
4 years
and pretty much faded into irrelevance after that. So no, like Clyde Drexler. I don't know.
Clyde's a lot. Clyde's better than Klay.
Yeah, I'll say that he was on 2 finals teams as the best player, the MVP candidate 1 year, won a title later on. Doesn't excite me, but Tim Duncan, of course, no objection. Durant, no objection. Dr. J, no objection. Patrick Ewing, no objection. Walt Frazier, no objection. Kevin Garnett, no objection. George Gervin, no objection. Hal Greer, no objection. James Harden, no objection. John Havlicek, no objection. So I'm not just gonna bang on all the white guys here. John Havlicek was fucking raw in his day, and like
John Havlicek. Yeah, Havlicek in West are like, nah, you say what you want to about that 60 shit or whatever else. They could have played in any era, especially Havlicek, because he was a dog defensively.
Yeah. So Elvin Hayes, no objection. Allen Iverson, absolutely no objection. Right. And if anybody wants to talk that noise about it, like, it was funny. I saw a question on Twitter not too long ago. It was like, who's a player like you rooted against like a lot in your fandom or whatever while they were a player, but in their retirement, like you'll defend them, like you'll go to the end of the earth to defend them. And I was like, It's Allen Iverson for me. Like
mine would be Duncan. Mine would be Duncan, but it wouldn't even be like after retirement. It was more like the 2011 through 2014 run for the Spurs is what did it for me. Like, that was more impressive for me than the stuff he was doing, like, in his prime, because, like, in his prime, I was comparing him to, like, Shaq and KG, and I was like, he doesn't come off the page to me like that when I watch him. And, like, he's always on the fucking floor falling and flopping and looking awkward when he's scoring points, and it looks like a fucking fluke when he scores. Like, that shot, like, the shot he made right before the Derek Fisher shot, I was like, get the fuck out of here. That shit is the luckiest shit in the world. He's on the fucking ground. Get the fuck out of here. I can't believe the Lakers lost this shit. Oh my God, Derek Fisher made that shot. Well, fuck you, Duncan. Like, you shouldn't have made that shit anyway. That's bullshit. Like, that's the kind of stuff you deal with Duncan over time or whatever. And then, like, the way he paced himself in the regular season compared to everybody else, I was kind of like, but then, like, that run that they all had from 2011 to 2014, like, and he's older, and he's, like, on a minute restriction, and, like, he just consists the moment at times, whatever else, and, like, whenever you need him, like, except for that missed layup in Game 7, like, he was just unassailably great. Like, so, like, I turned around on him heavy, and I think you had influence on that, too. I was just, like, I was in my head, like, nature versus nurture shit was like, all right, let's see this shit if he was out in fucking Minnesota and let KG be this, David Robinson, see how this shit goes. Like, I think a lot of that plays into it, like, whatever, it's a huge nature versus nurture thing, but anyway, whatever, he was great. So, yeah, that's someone I've definitely turned around on.
So we got LeBron James, and I don't know about this one. Like,
don't know about like the second greatest basketball player of all time being in the top 75. Yeah,
I feel like I feel like we need to really, like, we could actually do a whole show. Just debating whether 74, 76, 77 where he should have really been. But for the sake of time, we'll just move on.
Yeah. Like, he's gonna. Like, it was funny because Chris Paul over the week became the first player ever with like 20,000 points and 10,000 career assists ever, and I was like, oh yeah, LeBron's gonna be on that list in like in a couple years too. Like, his will be like 35,000 and 10,000. So he's finally slowed down, but still, like, he's still very fucking good. All right, who else is on the list?
Magic Johnson, no objection.
Yeah.
Sam Jones, no objection. Michael Jordan, obviously no objection. Jason Kidd, no objection. Kawhi Leonard, no objection. Dame Lillard, I kind of object. I think he's borderline. I think you could put him on it. I think you could just as easily swap them for any of the group that we kind of mentioned before.
Think so?
Especially Dwight.
Well, no, Dwight's someone that should absolutely be him, but like we're talking about like bubble guys, like people were complaining about like Clay or Steph, or not Steph, but Clay or Kyrie. Like he surpassed Kyrie in the last 5 years to where a point where like it was they were even. Kyrie had the advantage after he hit that shot in Game 7, and then like the last 5 years it's been all Lillard, and like out of Lillard and Clay and Kyrie, like he's the only one that's ever gotten an MVP vote. Well, I'm sorry. I think Clay got one MVP vote ever, and Kyrie has never got any. And then like Lillard, he's placed top 5 a few times now. So I think like he's separating himself from that pack, in my opinion. But like I think the thing that holds, I think I would go, or in this particular place, Lillard, Clay, Kyrie. That's how I would have it. Right now, like we'll see how this goes going forward, but I feel like that's where I would have it right now.
So we got Jerry Lucas. Like I said, there's a lot of 70s Knicks on here. The only two I'm willing to just guarantee like that are Walt Frazier and
Willis Reed.
Maybe Willis Reed. Yeah. They everyone else I feel like is up for grabs. Like if you tell me Jerry Lucas was better than Dwight Howard, I'm like, I don't know, sir. Like I'm sorry. I feel like if we like I don't see how Jerry, like I feel like Jerry Lucas is like Kevin Love kind of like, and I don't see Kevin Love on this motherfucker like like because Jerry Lucas had a great deep 2 or whatever. I always remember like reading about that, and he was a great rebounder. But
he ever had a 30-30 game?
Not that I know of. Game. Not that I know of.
Okay.
You know. So Moses Malone, no objection.
Yeah.
Pete Maravich, bring his ass right here, boy. Pete Maravich is perhaps the most overrated player on this entire list. He has not a single moment where you can point him to what he did that that impacts winning. Like he has no evidence. Like his playoff record is laughable. It's like me and you. You know, no track record of success anywhere. I understand he's a good ball handler. He could shoot. Of course, you know, he had his legendary college career, but this is the NBA list.
Well,
he broke down.
Yes, but I mean, he also won a scoring title before. So it's not like let's just say he was trash, whatever. Like I have to look through his I'd have to look through his accolades for like all NBA stuff and MVP shares. But I mean, I feel like he's close to the bubble than a lock. Like yeah, I get it. I'd have to look though.
Like I tweeted something like I never felt more confident in my life than knowing Kyrie Irving would have bust Pistol Pete's ass. Like Adam Thielen was an alien.
That's not what the list is for, though.
like Kyrie, like people talk about all the ball handling, the passing. Like, I mean, you telling me who's got a better handle?
Yeah, I think it's more of a. You're right, but it's more of a comparison of like how far ahead of the game was somebody, and like from that perspective, yeah, it will still be Pistol. But I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, so Pistol Pete can miss me on this one.
I can't even speak one way or the other on it.
Bob McAdoo, lock. Lots of points scored.
Yes, lots of points scored, but he's had a really weird career.
It's the 70s, man.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of this stuff is 70s. I think a lot of people were counting. Most of it's like people were like, get them people from the 70s out here.
Yeah.
Not Kevin the 60s, McHale, but the 70s.
Kevin McHale, no objection.
Yeah.
George Mikan, no objection. Reggie Miller, no objection, for me at least. But
I mean, I put Ray Clay and Reggie all in like the same final of like, they're all like top 50 players or whatever, or at least Clay will meet up with them at like that point at 50 about. Oh. Like Clay, that's the thing with Clay is like, when he said he's upset, he's not on there. It's like, you're only like 60% through your career. You lost your last 2 years of your career. Like, once we get this last third of his career, he's definitely going to be on here if he's healthy enough. But I don't feel comfortable putting him on here right now, though. But I feel comfortable to say that, like, is he going to be one of the 75 best pass holders of all time? Yeah, by the time his career is over, definitely.
We've got also Earl Monroe. Like I said, them Knicks. Like, the only thing is Earl Monroe is like a cult figure, like a playground legend. You want to talk about?
That's the same thing with Maravich too. Yeah, I think the thing that helps him is like he also has he has the Knicks run and the Bullets run.
Right.
Yeah.
Steve Nash, no objection. Dirk Nowitzki, no objection.
Right.
Hakeem Olajuwon, no objection.
Right.
Shaq, no objection.
Right.
Robert Parrish, no objection.
How many 80 Celtics are we gonna put on here?
I would at least put 3. I mean, Dennis Johnson didn't make it.
I would put Parrish on before I put Dennis Johnson. I think Dennis Johnson's like. I'm sorry, Bill Simmons. I'm not hearing it. I'm just not. I like being the second or one of the 2 best 2A players in the NBA only means but so much. Like, cause like offense means so much more than defense. I'm sorry.
Chris Paul, no objection. Gary Payton, no objection. Bob Pettit, no objection. Paul Pierce, no objection. Scottie Pippen, no objection. Willis Reed, no objection. Oscar Robertson, no objection. David Robinson, no objection. Dennis Rodman, absolutely a fucking objection.
Yeah, man. Like, there's too many people. There's too many people that are like. There are way too many people that are too comfortable in acting like Michael Jordan wasn't like the fucking greatest, and therefore like, and then he also was with another guy that was like a top 5, top 6 NBA player at the time, and then they were in the Diluted League and they wrecked shop. Like, I understand that they needed a rebounder and they lost because they didn't have Horace Grant, and then like they end up getting Dennis Rodman, and then they end up 60 or 7 multiple times winning 60 or 70 games. I understand that. In a vacuum, if Dennis Rodman or someone like Draymond Green is ever the best basketball player in your team, you are a lottery team. You are not winning 25 games. You are picking. You're going to have more ping pong balls than all but maybe 1 or 2 teams all the time. And like, I cannot reconcile that in my mind when people put them as a top 70 person or whatever else, because they won a bunch of championships as like a super duper 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 glue guy. Like, I'm sorry, like he's important, but he is not the heart of the team. He is not the person driving the fucking car. And that's not saying they were not great players. They were, but really better than T-Mac? Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, man. I was gonna say like if Rodman's in, then Draymond needs to be on here, but they picked one, so.
At least, I mean, okay. And then also you have the part where like, what happens when he's not like playing with like this super team of Lambeer and Microwave and Isaiah and Dumars, like what, or with Jordan and Kukoc and Scotty. Like, what happens when he's not in these perfect situations? Oh, 95 when he's basically like sabotaging David Robinson. Oh, Look, people forget that
David Robinson, a hell of a man, dealt with Dennis Rodman, got rewarded with Tim Duncan.
Right. If people add like, that's not a part of it. It's all the winning. It's like, nah, there's also like suicide scares, the craziest thing. And like, I'm not saying like making light of that, but I'm saying like, he was a roller coaster. And if he was not on the team that could absolutely handle him or however you want to call it, manage him and his nonsense to where he would try hard and not like self-destruct, he would blow up your fucking team. So it's like, 5 rings. Absolutely. What about when it's not the perfect situation? And a lot of these players, most of these players, never end up in the perfect situations. It just worked out for him. But like, if he never ends up on those Bulls team, they find a different rebounder in the offseason, they still win championships, and he's probably out the league before 99.
Boy. Bill Russell, no objection.
Right.
Dolph Shays, he gonna have to come see me on the carpet on this one. I'm sorry, Dolph Shays from the Syracuse Gnats. Like,
because your team don't exist. If your team don't exist, you shouldn't make the team.
Like, your team don't exist. We're not even allowed to name children your name anymore.
They ain't got nothing to do with him. Don't do that. That has nothing to do with him.
Don't matter. He got to hold. Look, he got to hold it. Plenty of dudes could have been a 6'8" unathletic forward. Sorry, Mr. Shays, you got to go, man. You got to come off. Come sit by me, sir. Bill Sharman, same. You also had to come sit by me, sir. I'm sorry. A 6'2" guard or 6'1" guard, and the Bill Sharman highlight tapes are out there. And I seen them, and he ain't got nothing for T-Mac, bro. I'm just saying. I'm just trust me on this one. It was easy to win next to Bill Russell.
Well, it wasn't just that it was Bill Russell. It was Bill Russell and 4 other niggas.
Yes, correct. I was going to say, 8 Hall of Famers.
It's just Bill Russell. He averaged 16 points a game on them seasons when he was winning titles. It wasn't just him. Defense, sure.
The Celtics had Hall of Famers coming off the bench.
Right.
Come on, man. John Stockton, no objection. Isaiah Thomas, no objection. He met the criteria. Nate Thurman, no objection. Tough motherfucker, if there ever was one in the early 70s. Wes Unseld. If you're going to reward Wes Unseld, I could say you got to reward Dwight. But he did win an MVP in his rookie year. Right.
And then he also won that title on the 78 Bullets.
Right. Had a great afro as well. So,
because that's what's important.
In the 70s, that of course, plenty of brothers out here looking like Wes Unseld,
man.
Dwayne Wade, no objection. Bill Walton, for me, no objection. But
the Bill Walton thing's also another one. Is people don't, that depends on how you feel about it. If you want to put him on because if he had not got hurt, he easily would have been, he would have been one of the greatest centers of all time. Would have been a top 15 player, sure. But if you want to point out what his career and accolades actually were, he should make the list. Especially when we were all, knocking out people that had
Derrick Roses or
Derrick Rose is Derrick Rose's peak clearly wasn't Bill Walton's. Walton was the second best player in the league or third best player in the league when this shit all happened to him, and they just fresh off a title and all that stuff. And then Derrick Rose, he was never
kicking the league's ass.
Derrick Rose is never anyone thought was ever a top 4 NBA player. It's just he was on a great team at the time, and everyone was mad at LeBron at the time, and so I think he would have. I think he had been healthy, he would have merited it because I thought he was better than Westbrook. So, but it is what it is. He tore his ACL, and then he was never the same. Not even close.
Jerry West, moonwalks onto this goddamn list.
A lot.
You guys have seen all those crazy playoff stats when LeBron would do something, right? So they would put LeBron stats on the screen. Then the next 4 times that thing was done was Jerry West. God damn, Jerry West.
Yes, straight up. If you ever see greatest scoring performances for a series or rebound totals or whatever else or assists or whatever else or any of these all-time playoff stats, the names that always come up in that bitch is Jerry West, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Wilt Chamberlain, and Shaq. Those 5 people's names always come up in those things. I'm this person ain't done this, or Elgin Baylor is also another good one. It's this person had a 45-15-5 game. Last person to do that was Elgin Baylor. God damn. Last person to do that was Jerry West. Definitely. Yeah, so...
the funniest thing I ever heard
he was a finals MVP as a loser. Come on.
Yeah. What Elgin Baylor was this man was in the Army. It was that 1962 season. That man only played on weekends, right? And that man averaged 38 and 19. That's just funny to me. Russell Westbrook, no objection. Lenny Wilkins. Like I said, man, the 70s is always a rough patch. I don't know about Lenny Wilkins. Do you think
his coaching career helped him at the time in '96? I think it did.
It had to.
I think it did.
It had to. Dominique Wilkins gets in, no objection.
He should have been on the 50th list.
And then James Worthy, no objection. And then that's your team. And there was a tie in the voting, so there's actually 76 people on this team. So
they didn't say basically 75 team plus they added Dominique.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, it was the 50th team, plus they added Dominique. We don't know who was the tie or whatever else. We have no idea. But just out of the current guys, like, is there anybody that was on the current current guys of like the new generation of guys minus Dominique? Like, is there anybody from that group of 24 that you think should be out for, let's say, well, should be Dwight, obviously. Like, who are you taking off to throw on Dwight?
Honestly, the only person I would probably consider taking off is Dame Lillard, because he's never played in the finals.
That's fine with me. Like, I was like, when I looked through the list and I was like, Dwight's not on this shit, like, the first thing I did was like, who are the guys that have been the best player on a finalist that aren't on this list? And like, I went all the way off the top of my head all the way to 1980, and only three people. It's Dwight, it's Jimmy Butler, and it is Chauncey Billups. You can explain you know what happened with Chauncey Billups and Jimmy Butler for that shit didn't work. Like, so yeah, like Dwight is like the other guys. He should be on here. Like, he first team All-NBA a few times. Obviously, it's the center position, but like, that dude finished top 5 in MVP voting like 4 years straight. I don't think there's anybody that's ever has that on their resume that's not in this top 75. There's nobody else like that. Like, we have like, and if he had retired after his back went out before he got traded to the Lakers, like that season where he had that David Robinson year when he was like 25.
He would have felt bad.
Yeah, he'd been 25. Like, he retired, or he would have retired after having a 25 in, I think it's like 13 or 14 season. He retires after that. Like, we're talking about how a tragic figure, how he lost his prime, blah, blah, blah. He's 20 something at the time, and I can't believe this all happened. They would have treated him like Bill Walton. But maybe to a lesser degree, he wasn't champion or whatever. I'm making my point. Like, he would have been the tragic figure. He would have been on this list easily. But because of the shit that happened in LA, and then like every single team, like
he has no fans to ride for him.
Well, yes, he has no fans to ride for him, and like the game changed on him. Like, obviously, the NBA game is not what it was a decade ago, and that hurt him. He was like the last dinosaur. But you can't act like this dude wasn't fucking awesome on both sides of the floor, or basically as a two-way player for a decade, basically. Or not a decade, let's say 8 years. It's 8 years, more 8 years.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll wrap up our NBA 75 talk. In other news, we know what y'all came here for this week. I put it in the notes on the Twitch stream. Shouts out to the viewers who stuck with us all through the basketball. So we're growing the basketball listening audience on One Nation Radio. That has always kind of, that this is an essential part of the show over the years. But yeah, man, Charlotte Flair has created chaos. And apparently her and Becky Lynch, there was some went into disarray during one of their segments. Charlotte was very vocal in not wanting to do the segment. There's a lot of people weighing in on this, and there's a lot of like stories coming out in the aftermath of this. Charlotte is damn near descending into the Tyson zone, where I believe anything can get reported about her at this moment. Yeah, shouts out to MJ Does PR. We got Bruce in the chat with questions. We're going to get to him. Yeah, man. What do you make of all this, man?
The idea that she is isolating herself since her fiance has left the company or was released from the company does not surprise me. The stories that the locker room, in particular the women's locker room, is not comfortable with her or alienated by her does not surprise me. The part where she had complaints for whatever was happening on screen, and then she went rogue on it, it happened. I fucking saw it with my own two eyes, and that's the part I'm having I never imagined her to do something like that. Now the part, my favorite part is, and I said this to you earlier, is that like her story that she went to the back and that the belt slipped, like, and I have a picture of the still frame when she drops it, and like she pulls it out, and like the belt's clearly out of her hand and it's not in Becky's hand, which means what happened? She let the bitch go. She let the motherfucker go before Becky could actually get a hold of it. So like, and then I had Zach Porter, our homeboy. Like I was joking. I said it should be silhouetted. That picture.
I am going to find it and display it.
It should be silhouetted, and it should become the, like we talk about Jerry West's the NBA logo. It should be silhouetted. It should be the WWE logo. And he was like, "It's gonna be hard for me to make that." And I was like, "Bro, I was just joking. You ain't really got to do that." And then next thing you know, he came through the clutch, and literally, like the belt is out of both of their hands and is floating in the air in that picture in the silhouette. And underneath, you see the WWE red bar logo underneath, and it's just like it's fantastic. But yeah, no one can buy that story. No one with a brain would ever buy that story. Apparently it was a shouting match between Becky and Charlotte. Apparently it was in Gorilla or whatever else, and they told Charlotte, because Becky had a dark match after they went off air, to go ahead and leave. And the word is they escorted her with security out of there, like she had stolen something. Like she's
leave
a
the premises.
Yeah. All bad, man, and none good come of this. And we for years have talked about how they have favored Charlotte in how little they ever have for her outside of her being in the title picture. Like if you go through her I'm sure if you were to go through her pay-per-view count, you count up the title matches compared to the number, I'm pretty sure like over 75% of her matches are title matches. And that's been a problem. And, her NXT, when, they wanted to give her a break to kind of freshen her up, it was more the same. It didn't help Bianca. It damn sure didn't help Rhea. And the stories that Triple H came out after to say that like there's going to be a story to it eventually or whatever else, where the fuck is it? Cause it's 2 years now. It's been almost 2 years now.
It's bad.
Or a year and a half.
So we're showing the logo right now, James, in the Twitch stream. If you guys see the logo, hit me with the number 1 in the comments. Yeah, this is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Zach Porter. I was waiting for James to tweet this, but he never did.
You know me, like I'll whip something up real quick, but like I rarely do I ever press send on this stuff. I don't want to bring that kind of energy to my mentions, because like I don't feel like
come see you.
I don't feel like fighting strangers, because like they can't whoop me, like
right.
And I'm not gonna block them, like I don't care about that block thing. So we'll just keep going in a circle until I'd be like, "Are you done?" And then
I'll do it like this in order to get the message out. Y'all can go ahead and just take a screenshot right now on whatever you got of the Twitch stream, and then y'all can share that amongst yourselves and whatever. So amongst the timeline,
clip it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but appreciate the clips that I've seen you guys making too on Twitch. That's pretty cool. But yeah, man, we know what y'all came here for. Like, we started seeing all types of crazy stories. They said Sonya Deville was mad enough to want to fight Charlotte.
Yeah, and then they got picked up, and then it turned into like she wanted to fight her. It's like, nope, that's a clear distinction. Like, you can want to fight your coworkers. You can be mad enough to fight at work. Once you want to fight your coworkers, then all of a sudden you got to go to HR and go talk to them, right? Like, so that's not the same thing. Those are not the same thing.
Yeah, man. There was also a report that Charlotte had cut up Becky Lynch's ring gear.
I saw nothing to that at all, and I was like,
what?
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I need someone to say that. I need someone that I know that does this reporting stuff to tell me that actually happened, before I believe that for a second. Like to me that's more ridiculous than like Sasha and Bayley were crying on the hotel room floor. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Charlotte's mom was arguing with stans on Twitter. That was also absolutely hilarious. They said Charlotte is like isolated herself. Becky Lynch was seen as a hero among the wrestlers. A lot of people
were mentioning like the Nia Jax work shoot thing or whatever the fuck that happened on Raw a couple months back, and I was like, okay, like maybe, but like who the fuck's going to back for Nia?
Right. We know how they feel about her having to wrestle her.
Right. They joke about it.
Supposedly, Charlotte has reportedly has people pushing for her to try to get out of her WWE contract. I would find that interesting, because obviously you would get, much like the Shield, a legacy act of the era pretty much broke up, don't exist, have to airbrush shit, like, which would be absolutely hilarious, seeing as everything they tried to put Charlotte in, that people told them don't do that, and then Charlotte busts off on the ass, and then they got to airbrush her out of being in the first ever women's main event.
Well, I mean, they already lost that pretty much, like, once, like, as far as, like, they, you know, obviously the idea was to put both of them in the main event with Ronda Rousey, so they have 2 stars once Ronda leaves. Like, that went out the window when, like, you know, months later, like, Becky had to go have a child. Or not had to, but was pregnant and decided to, you know, have a child. So it's like, you already lost all the heat from that, from having 2 people in that main event any damn way. And then, like, it didn't make the match better. So, and you told a stupid story that cooled off the enthusiasm for whatever match they were going to have at WrestleMania. So it was like, that was a disaster through and through by adding Charlotte all the way through.
My pick was always Sasha. That would be the one that would basically of them four that would get mad enough to want to go somewhere. But the Charlotte stuff, it doesn't shock me, because I mean, look who she probably has advising her. Like, everyone, I would imagine.
Well,
like,
I mean,
her dad's
advising her, who was a fucking, you know, a star wrestler in the 70s, 80s. So what do you think he's going to tell her?
Yeah.
You gotta protect your spot. They're always gonna come and get you. And then look what happens to Bianca in Rhea in NXT. Yeah, so, like, I mean, obviously we're doing wild speculation of what was told, whatever's not there, we don't know. But it's like, look at what is in her life. Look at what has happened, and like, she is clearly someone that the company early on said this is going to be one of our signature people. And there's no shame in that. She's clearly talented enough for that spot. The problem was there were 4 people that were clearly talented enough for that spot. They went her first, and they never let go. And that went to the other 3. You know, had to go be sent off to try to figure things out on the way. And at least 2 of them became bigger stars because of it. But they kept pushing Charlotte, and like 2 of them surpassed her, even though she was the plan all along. And like, there's a lot of like Randy Orton, John Cena-ish type vibes between Becky and Charlotte.
Yeah, man. Let's go to a couple of these questions I got in the comments. So Bruce says, is Charlotte now more toxic than Tessa? I would say no and hell no on that, because Tessa is on some, like, there was reports that someone may have been angry enough to want to fight Charlotte. We know people actually would want to fight Tessa Blanchard.
We've seen it on camera.
Locker room. Correct. James, if I don't know if everyone knows what you're speaking of, so would you fill everyone in on that?
Yeah, so after the Tessa story came out, last year during the, like, you know, the middle of quarantining and whatever else, when Alex and Kay, you know, pointed out the La Rosa Nega story where Tessa, back 2017 on a Stardom tour, spit on La Rosa Nega and called her a nigga. So there's that. And that's the main thing that's keeping her out of it wherever she tried to go on, aside from Impact, like ever since 2017. And
there's also a story of her storming in the Performance Center, like
Mae Young Classic.
Yeah, that, like, something like with Ricochet, like I forgot what happened, but yeah, she's not like around those parts either.
Yeah, so as that all happens, Faye Jackson, the one and only, pointed out that she was at a Northeast Independent Women's Wrestling Company or promotion, a show for that. I forgot what it was called. And he said, I remember that one time when Tessa got herself into a shoot in the middle of a match. And then everybody's like, wait, what? Who? What happened? Da, da, da. And then that promotion, I found out the promotion, I type it up, find it on the cage match, look on it because they have a bunch of YouTube stuff. They got everything except for that particular show or that particular match on that show. And then next thing you know, about an hour or two later, it magically gets uploaded. And it's a
what
battle
about that?
Right. It's a battle royal. And it was her and Deonna Purrazzo that had got into it. Like, they were having a chop exchange. And Deonna replied with a chop to one of Tessa's chops. And you could see Tessa, like, blow her stack. And then they start trading legit elbows at each other like fucking morons. And then it broke down into them actually fighting. They got broke up a little bit. And then, like, they continued on with the match or whatever else. And then, like, they had one other exchange in the match, and then, like, one of them got thrown out, but it was actually a physical exchange again the second time around. So, like, that was the extent of it. But, like, yeah, like, she's shooting in fucking indies.
Yeah, like, I know Charlotte had a little thing with Nia, but, like, I mean, if Nia's in there with you, you kind of gotta hit back. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
there's also, there's a context of, like, oh yeah, I remember that one match I had with her where, like, she didn't catch me on a moonsault, almost fucking landed on my head on the floor, and then, like, she was supposed to give me a shoulder breaker, and, like, instead of dropping my shoulder across her knee, she dropped my head across her knee. So yeah, once you know.
So there's also other.
You're not gonna hurt me again.
There's other stories that came out with it. There was something that Charlotte wanted to put over Bianca last week, supposedly, but the only person that came from was Alex McCarthy, who is in some circles known as Charlotte's house organ.
I've also heard that people say they refuted that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Like, there's nobody that, like, reported that or corroborated that. So in light of all the crazy Charlotte stories that came out, I went earlier on Twitter looking for you guys' Charlotte stories. So I had sent a tweet out. I said, give me your best Charlotte Flair stories in the replies. I will read them off on One Nation Radio tonight. We will crown a winner, James. I've just decided that. So I put an example out there, like, reportedly, Charlotte is selling dope in each city, transferring it via the production trucks. Like, that was my example. I'm not in the competition, but I just wanted to get my joke off. So we'll start all the way in Australia. What's up to my man Joe? He said, reports that Charlotte saw a basketball backstage. She walked over to it, wrote her name on it, and went home. This is the day Charlotte took her ball and went home. Dylan, Delstar X on Twitter. He says, allegedly, the beef from Becky and Charlotte stems from Charlotte telling Vince that the wrestlers wanted to unionize.
That's funny.
So, up next, from Dan Coffin. What's up, Dan? He says, hearing this from his trusted source, Ralph Wiggum, and he put a Simpsons meme in here. He says, Andrade and Charlotte were in the closet making babies, and I saw one of the babies, and it looked at me.
Oh, God.
Also from Dan, reports coming out that Charlotte tried to hug Vince McMahon, resulting in a 60-day suspension. That's a good one.
She wouldn't have got suspended for hugging.
The JML. Reports say that when Charlotte got backstage, she took her robe and shoes off and challenged the entire women's locker room to fight similarly in a way that Ed Orgeron did to his players when he was the coach of Ole Miss.
Wait. You know the story with Ed Orgeron in that, right?
I heard about it from Bomani.
He was like, hey, are you still
loyal?
Are you still loyal to David Cutcliffe? All right, if any of you are, you got to fight me right here, right now. That's a good one. Like,
that was a great one.
Where I thought JML was headed was he was going to go out there and say that, the Riley Cooper, to say, I will take off the shoes and the robe and say I will fight any nigga. So that's where I thought he was headed, but that's still good too.
So MJ Does PR says the scuttlebutt backstage at NXT was that Charlotte approached every trainee and asked, what set you claim? And if they didn't answer DPG, she chopped them. So I got one from someone named @DestroyFusion. Said all reports point to Charlotte Flair being responsible for a prank, calling a dozen birthday clowns to show up in Tessa Blanchard's house on Sunday. So Muzza actually submitted someone else. Hearing reports from Adam Piketty. He says, hearing reports that Charlotte Flair called Becky's mom a slag and she's no longer invited to her birthday party. You can't just be throwing the UK lingo in here and expect me to know what it means.
I mean, what do you ain't even gotta know what a slag is. Imagine what a slag is. Come on, that sounds like horrendous.
Yes, very bad.
Yeah. That sounds like fighting words.
It do. I don't know what a slag is, but I imagine if I heard anyone call it a slag, it would not be a good thing.
I remember watching this one show. I forgot what it was. It was a teen like comedy or dramedy, whatever you want to call it. And like this one mean girl called a woman that she was bullying, or the young girl that she was bullying. She called her a slunt.
Oh, whoa.
Like,
whoa.
So when you say slag, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, whoa.
Pause the clock, sir. What are you doing?
Yeah, like, you gotta throw them hands.
The law. So Sam submitted one from someone at KnoxBen1. According to my sources, Charlotte tried to get Tony D'Angelo to take care of Becky Lynch.
God. Like some Nancy Kerrigan shit?
Yes. So at Lady Wolf 2099, apparently she's a shareholder in AEW, and this is all a storyline, and that she was the one who ran over Stone Cold.
Can you imagine someone that had, like, obviously there's no IPO, but imagine if there was IPO, you find out like some wrestler in WWE had a bunch of stock in AEW. You know how fast they'd be fucking fired. You would be let go.
So we got one at Raccoon Problems. Backstage insiders report that Charlotte Flair has now aligned herself with Roddy Piper in a desperate bid to steal the Goonies treasure from Cyndi Lauper's gas station.
Okay, yeah, I'm not that old. Like, I get some of these references, but I don't know exactly what it all means. But like, like I was born in 87, not 77. God damn.
So at WrestleIsm, he says, Charlotte drove the white Hummer. I screamed when I read this one earlier. Those of you that don't know, 2000 WCW, the white Hummer.
Oh my God. I forgot about the white Hummer. For some reason, I thought white Bronco.
God damn it.
I was like, wait, what? Okay, white Hummer. I know the white Hummer, the whole story where... What, didn't the white Hummer pick up Ric Flair in like a field or something to save his life? I think he was left for dead by NWO.
God. I think one time
Hogan,
it was like
Hogan was in the white Hummer too.
Billy Kidman.
Yeah. I'd have to
Nash. There was like a bunch of white Hummer.
I don't have to go back. I'll probably listen to like Brian Means reviews for the shit. But yeah.
So at Mike CHR2K7, what ain't the username? He said, I heard she was at Montreal telling Earl Hebner to do quote unquote what's right for the business.
It was funny because I actually mentioned to someone that like who knew that like Charlotte and Becky was going to become like the new age Shawn and Brett.
So we've got at Make the Cover _. Charlotte is reportedly upset that WWE couldn't finalize a working relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, saying she wanted the chance to figurehead their women's division as well as WWE's. She said maybe there is only room for one con after all, as she left the arena on Friday.
Oh,
That's a good one. That's a good one. We got the Toru Yano fan account. He says, as tensions...
The what?
Toru Yano fan account.
So this is second Josh.
No, it's not. This is actually a different guy I know on Twitter. He's actually kind of gaining quite a following. Some of the hilarious stuff he's putting out of late. But he says as tensions continue to mount between Charlotte Flair and WWE, we are told that the SmackDown's women's champion has ghosted them over the weekend. WWE officials and several members of the roster tried to contact Flair to smooth things over. However, she did not respond to anyone. So, also at Raccoon Problems, he says Charlotte Flair caught punching Dynamite Kid in the mouth with roll quarters in 1988. Rambone Slam
so
Pig.
that means he deserved it. Like I remember Brett was talking about that story about, I forgot who it was. That I think was it Arujo?
Yes.
Yeah. One of the Arujo, like he's like Brett was like he deserved that shit.
He earned that. Bill Team do.
Yeah, like if you, I don't think it exists anymore because like we have Peacock, we don't have the network. But on one of those Legends of Wrestling round table discussion things with like, like Dusty or Rick and Jim Ross and Cornette and Lawler or whatever else, like Brett was on there and talked about that, and like how like one of them Rougeos sucker punched him with a roll of quarters, and like he deserved it because they've been fucking with him for like months.
So at Rambone Slam Pig, he is trying to bring some of the lore from Keepin It Strong Style over here. He says Charlotte has beef with the locker room because it was revealed that she was Jay White's mole in Chaos.
Oh my god.
Let's see what else we got here. Got a lot of people writing back on this one, so you guys were wanting to clown to rank. As they say on Charlotte. So someone said exclusive footage of what happened in Gorilla between Charlotte and Vince. He linked a meme of Brock Lesnar throwing the belt at Vince McMahon at the end of WrestleMania 34.
Didn't what did Vince say to him after that belt hit him? I forgot what it was. It was like, hey, asshole, or something like that.
I can't remember. So,
yeah.
So we got Adam Yuri. He also says, my sources are saying they wanted her to cut her hair really short and change her name to Spartacus.
That's a good one.
Those are all our entries here. I don't know, man. I think I'm going with the JML. The Ed Orgeron one.
What was the second one? I think the second one is one I kept in mind that I liked the most.
JML also said, I think that was his only one.
No, I mean the second one of the list, the ones you just read off.
Oh, okay. Dellin, he said allegedly between the beef stems between Charlotte telling Vince that the wrestlers want to unionize.
Yeah, that's the one. That's it. I'll go with that one.
Yeah. So shouts out to Dellin and the JML. Yeah, man. Like I said, I will believe anything about Charlotte at this point, or laugh at least at anything at this point. It'll be interesting to see where this goes. I think more wrestlers should stand up for themselves if they think something's stupid. I have personally come on this show and said I wish wrestlers weren't so soft. Sometimes they would act more like Austin or Rock or Hogan, and tell them to get fucked, like act like stars. Unfortunately, this is a side effect of that. You never really want to see real beef pop off among these people. Yeah, but I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of competition to stay at the top in the women's division. We can clearly see there's like a caste system of the women's division. Like there's like that Queen's Crown tournament level of the women's wrestlers, but amongst the top, like Charlotte's trying to fight off the rest of the Horsemen and Bianca. So like at this point, I think they're reaching a point where they're squeezing everybody and someone's going to pop out eventually, and it might be Charlotte. So she's, for me, it looks like she wants to stay. Like, and she's like, overprotective. She's prideful over work. And, but for me, it would be shocking if she was the one that I always said there is room for one big person, like there's one big woman jump that's going to come in this thing. And it could be Charlotte.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so hard to think. Like, for me, I think it would be a breath of fresh air for her to be outside of WWE, where she's not being babied and protected and whatever else, and like she can have some actual input on what she actually does, as opposed to like the only thing interesting about her is the fact that she's holding a belt like 10 months out of the year, every year. So from that perspective, I think it'd be a new lease on life for her, and also I think, given how poorly they booked the women's division on the main roster, like, or in all of WWE ever since he put the belt on Raquel Gonzalez, I think that, like, you look at what she could possibly do in AEW if she were to get out, or because we obviously don't know if and when, but you look at the program she would have lined up in theory, and like I can tell you that's more interesting than like her versus Becky Part 19 coming to Survivor Series, in my opinion. They did that to death. And they're saying like the big thing they're going for is doing Sasha and Charlotte. And I'm just like, I saw all of that in 2015 and 16. I don't think they have anything else to surprise or shock us with that we haven't seen before with him. So
especially with the current booking regime, like which would, we know all the stories they would do with it.
So yeah, for me, it's just like, I really there's nothing really else for her to do except for take on the younger newer acts. But like, there's look what she's already kneecapped before they even got a chance to get to the main roster. Like, if you were to say who would be the two that you want to see, like most, like Bianca's made it. She's already a star. She's already main person in WWE. But like, the person left would be Rhea. I never want to see Rhea and Charlotte wrestle again.
Yeah, they've been nothing but bad kind of for each other. Oh yeah, Bruce or MJ does PR. He says, did you guys see that Renee Paquette interview with Ariel Helwani? She told an outrageous story about Vince screaming
Vince in the microphones about that. Yeah. I've heard that story before, but I didn't know that it was her, and I didn't know it was that recent.
Bad, man. Like, I listened to her describe it. It was like she got transported back to this awful time in her life, and it was like there so much like of the power dynamics. Like, I started thinking about, and like he was just yelling at this woman to just like look in the camera and acknowledge that like he or she hears him
because she said the Gypsy King Tyson Fury instead of the lineal champion.
Yeah, like
and he goes off on his tirade saying, "You fucking ruined it." Here, check this out, Vince. Take your old ass back out in front of the screen and be commentary again. If missing one phrase or one descriptor instead of the other descriptor ruins the whole fucking thing, then clearly you have written a poor show.
Yes. It was bad. And she, like, and you think about the way Renee was kind of beloved in her role as like this Okerlund-like figure. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we can all agree that the commentary didn't work out as well as like some would have hoped.
Yeah, because they miscast her at the beginning. Like, she was in NXT. When she was in NXT, she was mostly being the play-by-play person. And they brought her in, and because Cole's there, they made her the face color against Graves.
That's a kneecapping role in itself.
Yeah. So, they they talk about how they're training the wrestlers for success and training the on-screen talent for success, whatever else. And then, like, they get up to the main roster and then they get asked to do something that they weren't being trained for. And then they wonder why the shit doesn't work swimmingly well. And then they make changes.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't really have much more on the Charlotte stuff. I guess we can talk about AEW from like Rampage and Dynamite. Rampage had 3 big matches on there. The main event was Pac and Andrade. A hell of a match. Just a match. It was just like, good God, I'd love to see them wrestle like 1,000,000 times. Like, but I know they're not going to fight 1,000,000 times, but I wouldn't mind if they did. It was just a lot of cool spots, creative finish, I thought. And it was, another reminder, who we dealing with here.
Yeah. That's the best match I've seen out of Andrade since like that first SmackDown match with, in 2018 with Ray. Like, I think it's like February of 2018. Where like, I love that match. So I thought it was like one of the best WWE TV matches ever. Like, this was like a notch better than that, from that perspective. Maybe not as far as like the insane moves, but like just the striking was just like another level, and it took it up another notch compared to that. Yeah, great match. One of my favorite matches in AEW this year. I feel like I'm saying that every 2 weeks now. Between the Danielson match, the Danielson Omega match, the Suzuki match, the cage match, ladder match. I'm sorry, the cage match, tag match, where Lucha Bros won, and this match, I just had a blast watching it for the last like AEW in the last month and a half.
Britt Baker beat Anna Jay. This was an R8 match. I thought both of them tried different kind of moves. I think Anna Jay's strikes, she needs to lay it in a little more, but I like Britt's approach at the
at the beginning, trying to work a more like mat based attack. I enjoyed it. I don't think it really tied together that well with what happened towards the end of it, but like I do appreciate her trying to, try new things in the ring.
And Orange Cassidy eliminated Powerhouse Hobbs from the World Title Eliminator Tournament.
Oh man,
Powerhouse Hobbs did a really cool torture rack. I hope he incorporates that in. The finish was weird. I still don't really remember or know like what the fuck they were thinking. Like he ended up getting rolled up, but there was like some distraction stuff going on, and it was just like, come on, man, just beat somebody.
Yeah, like Hobbs took 85-90% of this match. And they did point to their match they had previously where Hobbs got squashed. And I just, it wasn't a match. I don't think it was a match they meant to try to like super entertain you with. It was a match just to tell a story and get on to kind of protect both parties.
Yeah. But that's Rampage. I actually went to Dynamite on Saturday in Orlando. Had a great time. I would probably say, like it wasn't the best AEW show I went to, but it was up there. Like it just like everything super hot in the building. Had fun doing all the sing-alongs, popping and booing. Like we booed Cody Rhodes the fuck out the building, big time. Danielson and Dustin was great. There were a lot of people that were like Big Show's still really over just because he's a fucking legend, and singing his theme song is really quite an experience in the arena. I suggest everyone try it.
Was it just y'all or was it more people?
It might have been just us.
Okay.
Yes, the setup was the reverse of what it normally is. They were coming out the opposite tunnels. I noticed that. I don't know who said that. It was Sam. Yeah. It was the opposite, but yeah, man, I had a great time. Like it was a very fun night. Like, for a Saturday Dynamite, like, I didn't know what I was like expecting kind of, but I felt like I wasn't let down or anything.
Yeah. It was a good show. I think Rampage was better because, it's a 1 hour show and you got the best match out of it, but it was still a good show.
Some coffee's fast, but not fresh. Some coffee's fresh, but only after a long wait. Speedway coffee is made fresh at the push of a button, hot or iced, so you can have fresh coffee your way, right away. Get 2 times the points when you buy any size hot or iced coffee drink with Speedy Rewards.
Veterans, you may have earned a variety of VA benefits. Did you know VA can help you further your education and pursue professional training? The Home Loan Guarantee Program can help you buy, repair, or adapt a home. VA provides housing support if you find yourself homeless or at risk of homelessness. And don't forget world-class healthcare. Learn more about these and other VA benefits. Visit choose.va.gov.
Do you want to go through it?
Yeah.
Let's go through it. The opener.
So we had Dustin Rhodes and Bryan Danielson, and boy, these are 2 of my favorite wrestlers of my life. And I got a very like unique match here. These guys never really had a singles match of record of any type of high profile nature together. So this is kind of a first time match. This was Bryan was very over in the building. Dustin, everybody like kind of nod their head and showed respect. And then they had like this nice cool match, where where Bryan Danielson was not an underdog, as I keep coming on this show every week and saying he's not an underdog. He's coming to fight you, kick the shit out of you, and then he broke out another way to win matches here.
Yeah, he ended up hitting a guillotine or locking in a guillotine with the
which is his old move from his ROH days.
Yeah, I love this match. And like I'm a person that can be very simple to please, but so rarely do people ever want to please like the fandom that I have. Like, and like that's the reason why like I like Joshi so much, because like it's not necessarily like they can do some flying, but like you're not gonna see someone break out a fucking 630 Like, the only person I've ever seen hit a Phoenix Splash or a Red Arrow is like Hazuki and Saya Kamatani. Like, the flying's not their thing, but like, just basic technical mat wrestling, hard hitting, rope running, like the simple stuff that like I grew up on and watched in WCW on 605 on Saturdays or Monday Night Raw, like, is there. Like, when I watch Dustin like run the ropes, it takes me back to watching like Shawn Michaels or Brett or Undertaker run the ropes, and you're just like, they're hitting these bitches at full speed, and it's not like some half-assery where it's like they got to get their feet right because they're about to go do a flip dive. Like, I just enjoy watching people look athletic in the ring and cool in the ring, and like, it's not that hard for me. So watching Dustin with Daniel Bryan, like, I already knew like this was going to be great. Like, Dustin is great. Like, Dustin does what I want. Dustin will hit them ropes and he'll bend back on the ropes and like, and come like he's shot out of a cannon off the ropes. And he has all technical stuff, and he works that simple style of like, you're setting up towards like the power slam. You're going to get like the, you're going to get some chops, or you're going to get some claps on the mat and everything. It's like a simple basic wrestling. Like, I just, and he's very fucking good at it, and he's always been good at it. And like, seeing him in there with Brian, and Brian is just like, pretty much being a 6'6" guy at 5'8", right? Like,
chopping him down.
Yeah. And he has to fight back, and then he has to come back, and the comeback working, and then, he ends up losing on the guillotine. Like, I loved it. It was a fun match. Very, very fun match. Like, I ended up thinking like definitely 4, maybe even 4 1/4, but I really enjoyed the match. Really did.
I was 4 1/4 on it.
I'm somewhere in between, yeah.
So they also they moved on from there, and we got into this absolutely molten hot in the building segment with MJF coming out there was a promo first. How dare I skip the world champion? Kenny Omega basically tries Adam Page's life in a promo. Basically talk, instead of cowboy shit, he's coward shit. He talked about how while Hangman was out here trying to find himself and, saying that, he's drinking moonshine and getting drunk, like Kenny was always title material. He was the one, holding the shit together, and basically, told him that shit was coward shit. And he looked in the camera, got dead serious with that, man. So we're heating up.
Did you notice that before they went to the actual part where he starts talking, they were
shoes.
Staring at the shoes, and then they panned up, and I was like, oh, they're okay.
Shoes.
Obviously, not in front of people. And they were out here really wearing the shoes, apparently. Like, I don't know what Top Dog was talking about. Whatever. It worked for him, so congratulations. It's so silly. Just so silly. So fake. So fake provocative. Anyway, yeah. I didn't think it was a great promo, but it was something. I kind of want to see a face-to-face, like, with them, without, like, the laughing hyenas from Lion King in the back, like, Cole and the Young Bucks, just, like, those two go face-to-face and air out whatever they have to say to each other. Because, like, that's been a big part of this that's left me cold and that's been kind of left unsaid, is, like, what obviously what's the issue.
Why don't you like each other?
Not even why don't you like each other. Why do you act like exes? Like, after he lost that match at Double or Nothing, is that when they lost the tag belts?
They lost them at All Out last year.
All Out. Yeah, All Out. Yeah, that's right. After they lost them at All Out, like, they completely separated. Omega turned the clock around. Your boy Hangman was still he desperately wanted to still be a tag team, and he's like, I'm not believing that he's giving up on the tag team until he enters the Eliminator. He enters the Eliminator, and he's like, I gotta go cry in the back. And then I'm gonna join in, and he's gonna have to show me with his fist that he doesn't want me anymore. And then he showed him with his fist in the fucking One Wing Angel, he doesn't want him anymore. And then like
me.
Right. And then like and then ever since then, like, it's been this like it's like it's almost like whenever they see each other, like they lock eyes, it's almost you can see one of them get shot in the heart almost. It's like can we get y'all to like come together? Can we get the tension like in the form of verbalized? Can we get the tension verbalized? Like, because that would be a great promo to set up your match that you're going to have.
I want to see the violent masculinity personally.
Violent masculinity.
This shit is too emotional, for me. Like it's too soft. I'm trying to see someone say they want to kick the other one's ass, and I don't like you, and you a bitch, and I need something like that personally.
I don't like it's already good enough for me. Like if they mailed it in the rest of the way, it would. I wouldn't hate it, but like I just want to see like what is this? What do they have to say to each other before they actually fight? That's what I would like to see. I would like to see what they have to say to each other face before they fight. That's kind of what I want to get to.
Yeah.
Hopefully we still get that.
So FTR cut a promo. Who cares?
Some of them go the best wrestlers in Mexico, the best luchadors now, and they also want the AEW titles, and they went back and forth with Pentagon and Abraham Montez. So yeah.
Yeah, he had the big thing on his eye.
Yeah.
So MJF came out Sting came out, huge pop. We love Sting. Sting was in WCW country, Impact country. So before he can say a word, MJF came out, and my God, I want to tell you the boos. Like there was only one person that was getting more booed than MJF, and that was Cody at the end of the night. But this shit was just like, God damn, he has everybody. In this segment right here, it was just like he's so fucking good. He's such a fucking superstar. He's so clearly gonna be the man for the next 20 years. Like incredible. Like just like he told that man Darby he's gonna be and he's in the same place as old pal Lex Luger in a wheelchair, and this thing steals on him, and it was like, you motherfucker, like just he told people in Orlando that they settled their problems with gun violence and incest, and I just howled.
I'm hot for that line too.
Yeah, man, like MJF's the best, man. He's the best. People gotta get used to it. I don't care if you don't like it, but get used to it. And they whooped Sting's ass.
Yes. They whooped his ass. Spears came to help out MJF with a chair shot. Sting no-sold the chair shot, and then Wardlow had to actually stop Sting. So I thought it was a nice touch. Then they used the chair again, and then they have Sting propped up against MJF, who's sitting in that same chair, and he's talking to the camera about like, Darby, I know you're watching this, and like this is going to be what happens to you, and like gets tons of heat, obviously, and like people can't wait for Darby to kick his ass. So mission accomplished. Mission was accomplished like 2-3 weeks ago, but still, even more mission accomplished.
So Britt cuts a promo on Ty Conti, says that she's been out here showing her ass a lot, and she vows to beat it when they meet at Full Gear. So Britt Baker and Ty Conti. So and also they revealed the bracket for the TBS women's tournament, which led to the next match on this show. So there were 4 buys. The top 4 ranked women got buys, and then the rest of the people had to qualify to get into the next round.
Yeah.
One of the qualifying matches was Ruby Soho versus Penelope Ford. Ruby Soho was very over. We had fun singing the song. I learned that Zach hates the Ruby Soho song.
You just learned that? He's been saying it since day one.
Yeah, I was sitting next to him, and then he just talked about how much he hated. He also hated Cult of Personality too, which I didn't. Yeah. I was baffled by.
I ain't got nothing on that one.
I was like, what?
Zach. So Zach, he doesn't like. Not only does he not like the Ruby Soho song, he doesn't like Rancid. Period. And like for me, it's like, okay, like this is the only Rancid song I think I've ever heard, so I don't care.
So this was a alright match. It wasn't offensive or anything, but it was longer than most of the matches in the Queen's Crown tournament, which I saw a lot of people posting about and saying like, I think this went like 8.5 minutes, and it was like, yo, you get like 4 Queen's Crown matches in this bitch.
I believe the entire first round was shorter than the match.
Yeah. Ruby ended up getting the win. She
on a roll up
on a roll
distraction from the bunny. I think
the bunny was out there, so acknowledge the bunny.
The bunny went to throw in the brass knucks. The ref saw the brass knuck. Rick Knox, of all people, was observant to cheating on the outside of all things. You know, the fucking Keystone Cop. He and then she ends up winning with the O'Connor roll. So yeah.
So Ruby won. So like, I need to find a copy of the bracket. But did you see the bracket, James?
I don't remember it, so I can't help you. Sorry.
Okay. We will come back to it at some point. Up next, we had Bobby Fish versus Anthony Green. This was a short squash. Had fun singing Bobby Fish's theme song.
You know the words to it?
Just one part like that. I'll give you a reason. And we were like, whoa. So I didn't know the rest or anything like that. But
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. People were happy that like he's using the Red Dragon theme song, and I hear it and I'm just like, y'all couldn't pick nothing better than this. this shit sounds that shit doesn't move me at all. Like, it's okay, that's like funny. Whatever. Like this shit ain't better than the Undisputed music. Are you kidding me?
So Anthony Green got to do one move that was cool off the top rope, and then he essentially got ate up and beat. And then Fish, it's dead obvious what's about to happen. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then he jumps on him after the match, keeps whooping his ass. Then CM Punk comes out and saves Anthony Green. I'm like, well, why the fuck didn't you come out and save Sting, CM Punk? But whatever. We can save Anthony Green, but not Sting. So they set up Bobby Fish and CM Punk. So Bobby Fish continues the Dream Match tour. The charity.
Okay, you gotta stop. There is no such thing as
Bobby Fish sick. You know, is something going on?
Rich.
Like, is Bobby Fish owed money?
Rich, there is no such thing as a Bobby Fish dream match. Ain't nobody, except for what the matches that Bobby Fish dreams of. Nobody's like, you know what? I can't wait to see, or let me phrase it. There is not a large sect of people that are dreaming for Bobby Fish to wrestle Wrestler X. That is not a thing. So
Thank
I don't
you,
know.
Dylan. The Make-A-Wish match tour. Thank you.
Look,
like,
so this is a thing. Like you went off on this morning. And I was kind of like, I don't see how there's any different from like the other times they'll have somebody in here for like a month or two, like almost nonstop. So I didn't care. And plus, like all the matches have been good. So it's like I don't. Whatever, like any setup as a person, like he's gonna win like 1 or 2 matches to then go lose to Stars, and like so he has credibility as he beat other people underneath, he can't beat people on top, and for me, like that's perfectly fine, and like I'd rather him like take these L's than like Dante Martin take these L's. Dante Martin like needs to be having matches where like he's blowing the roof off and then he loses, and then you think, wow, that dude's special. Like Bobby Fish not having a match where you think, wow, that dude's special. You might think that, wow, that dude's good, but not special. So for me, it's like, I don't think him taking quote unquote, TV time from anyone else is to a detriment. It's to like boost the stats for the Stars.
Yeah. I'm just tired of seeing them. Like it's just so concentrated and focused over the last like 3 weeks. Like you get Sammy, Bryan, and then Punk, and I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like can we mix no one else in here?
It's not gonna be like this. It's not gonna be like this a month from now. So that's why I'm not worried about it. Like he's not going to be on TV 3 out of 4 weeks in matches. He's not.
Like we see all the people in the women's division, like Thunder Rosa, like we're like just scraping for TV time, like something like you. But we just gotta keep booking this grandfather. Like what are we doing? Like so.
I do have the brackets now.
Okay.
Okay, so the TBS Women's Championship Tournament, the top half of the bracket, at the top, the first bye is Thunder Rosa. The second bye is Jade Cargill. The winner of Anna Jay versus Jamie Hayter will face Thunder Rosa. The winner of the Bunny and Red Velvet will face Jade Cargill. The bottom half of the bracket, the furthest down is Crit Statlander with a bye, and the other bye is Nyla Rose. Penelope Ford it'll be Ruby Soho because she beat Penelope Ford. She will then be taking on Statlander in the next round, and then you will get Sheeta versus Deeb in the battle over that 50-win trophy. The winner of that will take on Nyla Rose in the next round.
Gotta say, I'm into the tournament. When I saw the bracket, I was like, this makes all the sense in the world. It's like you imported your rivalries kind of in those qualifying matches. You made use of your rankings, and it's like everyone that's in there, aside from Ty Conti, who's actually going to face the champion. It's like, all right, we could see any one of them almost win. Like as far as like you start looking at Thunder, Jade, Statlander. Maybe even Ruby Soho. Any of them, I think, I don't know where the winner's coming from. And AEW does a good job in their tournament sometimes, especially the last women's tournament they booked, the Women's World Title Eliminator one on YouTube. They were taking you, like, Ryo Mizunami won that. I didn't expect that. So it was like, you never quite know where you're going. So I think it's going to be booked pretty well. And we'll probably get some good matches out of it. I think it's going to kick the shit out of the Queen's Crown tournament. I didn't watch a minute of the Queen's Crown tournament.
Well, yeah, they didn't have a chance to have good matches. So, yeah. Obviously, I don't know if there'll be anything in this tournament aside from maybe Serena Deeb versus Sheeta that will be better than like the opening round of the AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament, like watching like Emi Sakura versus was it Asuka Vinny?
I think it was yes.
Yeah, like I don't think there'll be anything as good as that necessarily, but like it'll be a good tournament, I imagine. And as you mentioned, they have stuff all like whoever wins between they're just built-in robberies and just off of the buys. Like whoever wins between whoever like Nyla faces is going to be like just a built-in thing. So it's going to be interesting. And then like they already have like people that have buys like have smoke with each other. Like Statlander and Nyla have smoke from 2020. Jade and Nyla, Nyla threw out Jade in the Battle Royal a few weeks ago. So yeah. If they were to meet in the finals, for example, like they have storylines playing into this, so it's gonna be interesting.
So Leo Rush is teaming with Dante Martin against the Sydal brothers. They do like a quick interview. Leo talks about all the things that he needs to show Dante, and one of them, he basically is going to show him all the things that Matt Sydal didn't show him. Puts over Dante as the future. He knows he can beat Sydal, so that's going to be fun to watch. I think this will be Leo Rush's debut match in the promotion. Or, his
debut non-Battle Royal match.
Yeah.
Okay.
So up next we had Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer, and man, Eddie super over in the building. Like he got the biggest reaction, like I think as a babyface possibly on the show. As soon as he hit
as a guy that attacks him from behind.
Correct. Archer had it coming to him apparently. So,
man.
Yeah. So they had a match. Things were going well, and then they were going really well. They had an awesome match. Like it was getting over. They were brawling. They were slamming.
He was whooping Kingston's ass. Like he shot that man from behind, and then he said, "How dare you!" Like Look, you had a week tour in Japan. I was there for years. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, I didn't hear that part. I was sitting in the crowd. That's funny.
He didn't actually say that, but that's the energy he was giving off. It's like, Fort Pillars, Taue and Kabashi and shit. How about this? How about holding Suzuki-gun arms and clubs that I hit that man with? He beat the shit out of Kingston. Kingston, like, have you ever seen the gif of when he had to try to do a trap battle with Walter?
Yes.
And he just like, he got shot one time and then he went to his knees and like, he was like done. And he was basically trying to fight to keep him off of him. Like, that was pretty much like what this match was, for a good portion of it. And then like, I thought Kingston was going to come back and win, obviously. So like, you know, the moonsault thing happens and he lands on his head, on his forehead with his neck down, basically after he had mostly rotated to getting, most of the way over, but not all the way. And for me, I thought it was more of a concussion issue than a neck issue, but like the word was he jammed his neck up bad. So, you know, luckily, nothing looked too terrible. The way he was able to roll out and he was able to control his body and then got back in the ring to get pinned. But I don't think that Archer was going to win that match. So, you know, it is what it is, but, hopefully he gets well soon because like, Archer's fucking
he's
good,
so
man.
fucking awesome.
He's fucking good.
He's great in person. Like this was a heated match. Like, and it sucked. Like, it kind of got like.
Well, they got beef. They got beef going back to last year.
Yeah. So anytime those two get together, it's really good. Sam actually mentioned something in the comments. Said, did you guys see the Bryan Danielson and Eddie Kingston promo after Dynamite?
Yeah. That's what makes me like one. I thought Kingston made more sense because it feels like eventually inevitably is going to be Moxley versus Danielson. So you do the Kingston match on the way. So like doing Rhodes to the top, you know, like that first commercial break, they'll go to the locker room with Shivani, with whether it was Sammy Guevara that 1 week or whoever else the next. Right. It was Heyman the second week. This week it was Daniel Bryan saying about, you know, tournament, and then Kingston walks up and Kingston starts trying to break bad with Danielson, and he said, "Look, man, I think that you're great. I think that you have all the talent in the world, but you have not put in the work. And no matter how hard and how much you want this title, you will not get it because you're facing me in a week, and there's not enough things you can do in a week to make up for not putting in the work over the last 20 years of your life." And then Kingston just like, I can't believe you said that and walked away, like just like hurt. And I was like, yeah, man, they're having a good ass match.
That's like, bro, like that's like that uncomfortable truth you hit somebody with, and it's like, fuck, this man's right.
You know what it was? And then I saw someone mention it. I can't remember who it was, but it's like, think of how awesome Kingston has to be for him to like have the thing that people know about him be public, and then like actually mention it, whatever. And I was like, yeah, I mean, but we give people that kind of or that kind of like self-awareness or prop for adding that kind of reality to it. But then when like we talk about we let John Cena go ether Randy Orton, and we don't really give Orton that kind of props now, do we? Like, you've had troubles in the ring, you've had troubles outside the ring. We were all oohed and awed and then moved on. We didn't type soliloquy about how cool Randy Orton is for letting, you know, real life bleed into his storylines. We didn't really do that. But I'm not holding against it. I thought it was cool, and I can't wait for them to wrestle each other.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of chops, like, and kicks, like, because it's sounding off. So after that, Lambert and Men of the Year.
Can we get a request that Bryce refs this match so he can cry when Kingston taps out again?
It's like, what submission hold will Brian beat him with?
I don't know.
Will it be the heel hook? Will it be the label lock?
It needs to be. It needs to be one where you can see Kingston. You can see Kingston's face, and then he realizes he's fucked, and then you can see Bryce beg with him to just give up, and then he gives up, and then like Bryce cries. I didn't want to see Bryce cry again.
It's got to be the heel hook, then.
Heel hook. You know, because you can also, like, if you want to get something that would anger Moxley in the build up, like, you didn't have to do that. Like, he's going to be put on the shelf for weeks now or months. You know, like, heel hooks rip ACLs up. So like, if you wanted to go that route, you could, but like, you know, a labella lock would work too. You could just be dead to rights, and you can see his face, and he just can't make it to the ropes. He's got to give it up.
So Sam is advocating on Eddie Kingston's behalf. He said Eddie wasn't shitting in anyone's bag, James.
I did not say that he was.
No, I'm saying that's why people are going to go hard for Eddie Kingston. Like Randy Orton hasn't made those fans.
I am not saying that one is more deserving of the props than the other. I'm just pointing out that like they're both bearing quote unquote their dirty laundry in front of the fans. That's all I was saying.
Yep. So Lambert and the Man of the Year came out. We were booing big time for Lambert. I didn't think Lambert necessarily like went nuts this week or anything.
This was not a great promo for Lambert. I thought that Page did a very good job on his own, which is like kind of why I was like, you know, if they want to do that with him, sure, or with them, sure. But I think they kind of have it. I think it's helped them though, obviously.
Yeah, so they ended up, you know, going back and forth with Sammy Guevara. Sammy talks about, you know, no one gives a fuck about Ethan Page but Ethan Page. It's pretty funny. They eventually ended up coming to some stipulation where Lambert was like, hey, you need to put your TNT title on the line against Ethan Page. If he loses, not only do you lose the Inner Circle, or lose the TNT title, you have to leave the Inner Circle forever. I was like, well, why the fuck would Sammy do that? Like, what does he get out of it? And then
a W because he ain't gonna lose now.
Right.
Sure.
Sammy clarifies the stakes, says they got themselves a deal under one condition. Once he beats Page, he gets to decide that the 3 members of American Top Team that will get their ass kicked at Full Gear. So it's got to be JDS, Masvidal, and Paige Van Zandt's husband, right? Actually, it might be Lambert.
Is Men of the Year included in American Top Team or no?
Or no, it's going to be Men of the Year no matter what. And then 3 more people.
3 more.
I think they're going to pick Lambert.
That makes sense. Like, you go through the match, you have the 4, they get ran down in numbers, they get tired enough, and then, like, he's the last person standing on the apron, so he has to get in, and then, you know.
Everybody does their finish to him.
Everyone collectively, you know, takes a piece out of his ass on the way to, you know, beating him. Or maybe actually they saw him survive it and they win and live on another day, but he's got his ass whooped, so that's enough. I don't know. But obviously, you know, they build towards he's the last guy and he's shaking his boots on the way to hoping that, you know, his other 4 moves can save the day for him.
I need a movie montage of finishing moves put on Dan Lambert. But yeah, so
you think he'll take the street sweeper?
Sure, why not? It's just a front face fall.
He ain't taking no damn street sweeper. How old is Lambert?
He took the fucking Murder Hawk Monster, like the fucking everybody dies. He took Archer's finish.
All right, if he'll take it, he'll take it. I just imagine, like, if I was a civilian, I ain't taking that. Hell no.
So Moxley cuts a promo. For a while, you don't quite really know where it's going, and then it all kind of ties together at the end. And then it's just like, this dude is so fucking cool and awesome.
I knew where it was going from. But once he started talking about like he wanted to be his family, it was like he's gonna do like everybody's in the way of me getting back to my house, so they have to pay. And like he
said he didn't care about the demo. I was like, I was like, this isn't like going to endear you. Like, we care about the demo here. What are you talking about, Mox?
I mean, he just wants like. That's not what's important. And what's important is like he has this new person in his life that like, you know, and so like, yeah, like priorities and growing up and all that stuff. And like, I loved it. It was my favorite promo of the night, to be honest with you. And like, I saw that I was watching. I was like,
can't find nothing to do with him.
Right. Just like, I just cannot figure out like for my money, he's the best promo in the world. Like, obviously people will say MJF or Kingston or whoever else, but like, for me, just like the last, since he got to AEW, it's been him for me. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, you give him 90 seconds, 2 minutes, and it's always a stand-up double or something better. Like, he's just so consistently good.
So we got him in 10 next week, and
good luck, 10.
Yeah. So that's a callback from a match that happened last year during the pandemic.
Apparently 10 is he's getting ready for Moxley. He potatoed.
QC was out here like this. We could see that shit from like sitting the first couple rows off the floor.
Getting ready. You still gonna drop him in his head though.
Yep. So a couple comments. So Bruce says, great promo, but made me think they aren't turning him heel like I thought they were going to after squashing Wheeler Yuta. Sam says, king of the 2-minute shot across the bow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's turning heel. Maybe. I think him and Danielson is a very interesting dynamic because they both are very serious. There's not much smiling and joking with Bryan Danielson right now.
He still smiles on the way to the ring and that kind
like
of
he
thing.
smiles on the way to the ring, but he's a fucking killer. Like he's a shark. He is a murderer. Like in the ring, and it's like when he was beating on Nick Jackson the other week, it was like, fuck, this is brutal. Like god damn. But I think the dynamic is real. Like just seeing like how kind of rough around the edges both of these guys feel. Something's happening. Someone's turning. I don't know who.
I think it'd be crazy to turn Danielson heel anytime soon. Like he's been too successful. And then, like, you know, in theory, we all think that Omega will not be champion after Full Gear. So, like, he can go see who he can figure out who's the best for real now. This time with like him and Omega, like, there's no belt, no time limit. Just go out there and do the thing. And then he can figure out from there. But like, I feel like, you know, he's kind of just, he could be the number one contender. He could even put that on the line and be like, look, you want your AEW world title back? You got to come face me. And then, you know, hits him with one of the 50 finishing moves he has, and then he goes on towards Hangman or whatever else, and then Hangman should probably beat him.
Speaking of Hangman, so Hangman was talking to the Dark Order, says that those guys are always right about even how they won't agree. Thanked them and said if they're going to go back after the Elite, he has an idea, and told them they need to get Halloween costumes because, of course, they don't want to let the Elite outdo them. I saw it and I was like, okay.
Yeah. They're back to being flat out geeks. Like, like I don't know, man. Like, unless Hangman is with them, they're just geeks. They're likable. They probably sell merch still too, but they're just kind of treading water. Like, maybe they'll be more active once Heyman becomes champion, because I imagine like once he wins, like they'll storm the ring, for his victory and that kind of thing, and a whole bunch of hugs galore. And it's like the Return of the Jedi with like on Endor with like the puppets like dancing around after they destroyed the Empire and all that kind of stuff, and it's super happy and all that kind of stuff. But they're geeks.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just there for me. Jungle Boy and Brandon Cutler. This was fun.
Exactly what
and funny and hilarious. And yeah, it was just like, I love Brandon Cutler. I've loved him pretty much since he was on Dark doing the thing with Peter Avalon on BTE. He's so self-aware. He's so hilarious. Doesn't mind showing his ass. Jungle Boy needed a win. They'd done a little bit of beating on him.
He needed a win, so he got one and then proceeded to get his ass destroyed.
He did. But the next time he fights Adam Cole,
so
let's get it.
The rundown is Jungle Boy quickly dispatches of Cutler and puts him in a snare trap of like probably in 2 minutes, and it's very, very easy for Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy gets on the mic and says, "Look, that was a nice warm up. I want to face someone else." So then Adam Cole comes out. Adam Cole buys some time as the Young Bucks come from behind, and he did spend the last 4 years in Orlando. That kind of is cold country in a way. Like that's probably the same reason why Alistair was super over. You think about it, like, right? Like wasn't his first takeover Orlando or
yes.
NXT takeover Florida? We went to that takeover.
Yep.
It was against Andrade, believe it or not. So, not you, the people listening. I almost call them fans. They're listeners. I don't call them fans. That sounds weird. So us having fans, Jesus Christ. Well, you're a rapper. You have fans. I don't have fans. So, anyway, yeah. So, like, he comes out and he's buying some time, and then the Young Bucks come from behind and they double super kick Jungle Boy, and then they pull him up to the ramp, and then they just throw his ass off, and he goes flying through the table below, and Jungle Boy dead, and there was no Jurassic Express, no Christian, because he was losing
on the boat.
He was losing the Impact title hours later. So yeah, no Danielson either. That whole 8-man tag team of Jungle Express and Christian and Bryanson. Nah, that's a one-time thing, brother. That was a one-time thing.
This is the babyface army. Like,
you finna go flying, bro. I can't help you. I have no wings to save you with.
So I would imagine they are probably gonna do Cole and Jungle Boy at the pay-per-view. That should be awesome.
It almost feels like they have too many matches.
What's up?
It almost feels like they have too many matches for the pay-per-view.
I don't know. I'm not sure. So
all right,
we'll see what else they
add. Right? Just put up. Just let me know if I repeat any of them. Right?
Okay.
AEW World Title match: Hangman and Omega. The AEW World Eliminator, which is probably Bryanson versus Moxley. Britt and Ty Conti. Britt and Ty Conti, that's 3. The tag match, Lucha Bros versus FTR, that's 4. Inner Circle versus American Top Team in Men of the Year, that's 5. Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole. That's 6 right there.
Mm-hmm.
You think we're going to get a TBS thing?
I don't think that's going to be on the pay-per-view.
Okay, what are the Young Bucks doing? Guess. What are the Young Bucks doing? Probably Jurassic Express, right?
No, because that's Jungle Boy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they could pull anybody out and fight the Young Bucks. So just put Young Bucks match.
Young Bucks match. Okay. MJF versus Darby. That's 8.
Yep.
That's 8 right there. I feel like we haven't mentioned CM Punk yet. What's CM Punk doing?
CM Punk, no idea what he's doing. Unless he's wrestling like Tony Khan had on that paper, Wardlow or something. But yeah. CM right. Punk's got to get on the show.
You're right. So a CM Punk match will be 9. What is happening with Cody and
Malachi Black
Malachi Black and Andrade and Pac?
No idea.
That would be 9 and 10 or 9.
So somebody's probably going to get bumped to like either the show after or before All Out. Or not All Out, fucking Full Gear.
Okay.
So the main event, we haven't
mentioned Miro. We don't know if like what Archer is doing. Is there stuff about Battle Royal? We don't have no clue. Yeah. Like they have a lot of stuff. They have to figure out what's going to be on this card. And it's definitely going to go 4 hours, and I'm going to be like, why can't we just get 7 matches in 3 hours? But it is what it is, I guess.
So we got Malachi Black and Cody Rhodes 3. I'll just tell you what, in the building, it was like, yo, this is Malachi Black country. Cody came out here. We let the booze out. Like somebody let the dogs out back in the day. I got the first Cody sucks chant you guys heard like came directly from me and Josh.
Oh
like,
my God.
And the whole arena took off on that shit, and it was quite a proud moment. But all in all, I thought it was a hell of a match. It was a lot going on. So at one point I did turn to Dan. I was like, look, you see everything that's going on right now? We're not watching Cody. We're watching motherfuckers brawl on the apron. We're watching Arn Anderson in the ring. We're watching all this other shit that has nothing to do with Cody. But like
nothing to do with the match.
Right. And then I was like, man, it's so loud. People are so into this. I was like, wow, it feels like pro wrestling. Like that was like the default feeling I had watching it. And it was like, it felt like a really big match. And then like, it was like, shit. And then we were all rooting against this one dude, and then he fucking won. And it was like, fuck that asshole.
So they started the match.
I was also gonna say,
okay,
my fault. They I don't know if the reaction in the building necessarily was the one that I was seeing online, because I thought online people were way negative on it than they were in the building, because it was like,
on
yeah,
the
we
match
saw
or on the result,
both. People were really negative on the result, and then I feel like in the building, we were people were booing or whatever in the match, oh, okay, just fuck this guy, we don't want him to win. But it wasn't like some, hey, there's a colossal disaster happening. I didn't get that at all. I obviously, the internet is hyperbolic, so I don't think it's the end of the world. And maybe I'm being more measured now that I have days passed on this, but. Or maybe it's because I checked out once the run-in started, and I was like, I don't even care about this match, because I was like, what the fuck? I just want to see two people that have fought each other for a bunch of times. I just saw this fucking training montage of shit of this dude wanting to figure out a way and get the hunger to fight this dude, and then all of a sudden there's 40 motherfuckers coming out to get in the way of the match. What kind of story are you telling me with this bullshit? There's all these chairs, Brock Anderson, Lee Johnson.
Yeah.
Arn was in the ring seemingly for so long.
The ref trying to get him out the ring while those two are both on the floor. And it's like, what the fuck is this? So for me, they're the beginning, the part that really pissed me off and why I checked out the match, because I was so into this third match, and I had taught myself, and this is probably my fault, or this is my fault for talking myself into a Cody match not having bullshit in it, but they had that first match, for a sub 5-minute match, was just excellent. It told an excellent story of this guy is just too much for Cody, and Cody is not, his territory ass is throwing elbows or forearms to try to match with this dude, and he gets his leg taken from him, or beaten down, and then a busted wheel, and then he works on the leg, and then Cody gets desperate and goes to the top rope, and then he hits one of V-trigger, and he falls off the top rope into the table at ringside, and then he comes in the ring, eats a black mass, and he's out he could count to 100, and he was out, and he puts a foot on his chest and pins him. In the second match, hits with the kick, and he falls out the ring, so he survives because he ended up rolling out the ring from getting kicked so hard. And then by the end, there's run-ins there's shit with Arn and with Brandy, but he ends up hitting with the miss and rolling him up. So this match happens, and they're starting and they're wrestling their asses off, and I'm just like, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted the first match to be, but I ended up getting a short version of it, and I thought this is what the second match was going to be. I'm getting what I thought the second match was going to be, and then they ended up outside. Because a table got set up by Malachi, and they ended up doing a crossroads, and the
which
crossroads,
is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
You know what? Look, for me, I can suspend my disbelief for the wrestling logic that even though Cody is absolutely cushioning Malachi's fall on that bump, the move is meant to be that it's Malachi taking it, but it didn't look good. And no part of Malachi even took it. So I was like, I get it, but it looked bad. Whatever. And then he gets up blading. I was like, why do you need a blade? Why do you need a blade? And then Cody charges at him, and he ducks it, and then he hits the post. I was like, double juice. God damn it. Him and want to be his dad, and they're in Florida. So of course it's a fucking, outside the ring brawl, and double juice, of course, is fucking Florida. It's Florida Championship Wrestling. And then all of a sudden the camera cuts away, and you're just people running out, and it's of course this gives time for Cody to blade. Next camera shot you get, crimson or forehead red. I'm like, God damn it. So
what's Cody Rhodes' blood percentage in his matches in AEW? I would love
it's a lot
for someone to discover this.
Yeah, he does it. It seems
if it was a batting average or something,
in
right?
Singles matches, you mean?
Yeah, in any matches.
I mean, it's got to be something somewhere between 30% and 40%. It seems
that's the stat I want to see. Like they talked about this is going to be a company built on stats. What the fuck is Cody Rhodes' blood percentage?
Wow. He's even had one where like he didn't mean to, like that Jericho match. He didn't mean to blade. Like his head just hit the ramp.
Karma. Oh, you want to bleed, huh?
And I'm not even gonna count like the one where like the squash, the first Malachi Black where he bleeds a little bit because he gets cut. He gets on the ridge of his nose. Like I'm not even gonna count. I'm talking about like actually like where he pulled out the he pulled out something to cut himself. It's cut his forehead. But then Andrade comes out. Then Pac comes out. The Rhodes family, like Lee Johnson and Brock that Malachi is beating, they come out and all of a sudden Malachi ends up back in the ring and he ends up blowing the mist on Arn because Arn's ass in the ring for no fucking reason. And and then like the crowd, Arn's in the ring and he points the gun and the crowd chanting "Get the Glock."
Yeah.
And I was just like, by that point I was so disgusted. I basically was like, went into autopilot, like one of them games where like the bronze shooters have missed every one of them three, and he's like, I'm not passing the ball over to Jay Crowder or fucking again the rest of this game. I'm done. Like I was just in that mode. Like I'm through. I'm over it. And then like I'm watching it, and it's like they got back in the ring and they were doing stuff. I was like, that looks good. And then then after we talked about the story of like overcoming all this stuff, of how he's going to overcome. Cody, this person's like just a different level to him at this point, and how he's going to reach it. Alex Racing with that black mask has laid him out the first two matches, and he gets caught on the ropes. And then like it's a little struggle to get him off the ropes to go pin him, but Cody gets right up and fight him right back, and then ends up hitting him I think hits his finisher twice and then pins him. It's like. And then I heard later that like they were rushed for time, and it's like, I'm sorry, bro. Like you mean to tell me y'all built towards this for like basically 3 or 4 months, and like y'all didn't have this timed out? Nah, man. Like I'm sorry. Like y'all had a great match going. Y'all decided to put this bullshit in there. I tuned out. Like maybe it got good again, whatever else. But like I was so over it. So like I can't give it a rating or whatever else. But like I'm not. It was still a good match, but it's not something I'm going to ever want to go back to watch. I'm just done with it.
It feels hollow for me, like, right? Like, like I said, everyone in the building was into the match. I was into the match.
I don't even have a problem with Cody winning the match. Like, after you do the third match, you're basically telegraphing that Cody's going to win. Mm-hmm. It's just like, you told y'all, or Cody fashioned himself this fucking storyteller. What story did you tell? You undid everything. You did everything you worked towards for 3-4 fucking months in the last match.
I was gonna say like this was supposed to be something about, hey, you were either overconfident or you had gone soft or something happened.
Yeah, that led to that first. Too civilized. The fighter, right. The commercial guy has taken place of the fighter. Yeah,
I'm like, well, where was that fucking journey? Like how did you get better? Like in your preparation for Malachi Black? Like, I'm sorry, a couple jobbers slapping you in the room in like, in your brother's gym. Like, it's not enough. Like, it feels like, ironically, they were trying to show us, right? But like, it didn't tell me anything. Like it was just like a segment that was there. Like, there was no like sense of like, hey, like, how did Malachi Black suddenly get like weaker than he was the last couple matches? Mm-hmm. Like, there's no the Russian is cut moment where Cody has this chance or whatever. Like, it wasn't. It was like they wanted to tell you the story, but like the ingredients that they're using, like, we ain't quite got all the stuff that needs to actually go in the gumbo. So we're just gonna throw even more stuff in there, and it might not be the real gumbo, but it's interesting, it's unique, but like, it wasn't enough for me when you examine it with like a fine-tooth comb. And maybe I'm not giving Cody the rope that I would give someone else in this position, but we already talked about what a lot of Cody's matches descend into, where it's just like fucking, it's absolute chaos and like all these moments.
I can understand I don't have a problem with the run-ins and all the nonsense if it actually like help tell the story of what they were going for over the past 3-4 months. It did not. It actually flew in the face of what they were trying to do. Like, Cody did not overcome. Cody did not like demonstrate himself to have changed to overcome what was upon him, the task at hand. He just no-sold the fuck, or he more or less look seemingly no-sold the shit that laid to put his ass down for the count like twice. Because they were up against it for time, so they had to make it. They had to do that, which is like, all right, like I don't know what needs to be. Maybe, hey, how about you don't beat up Jungle Boy this week? Give him 2 more fucking minutes to be able to figure out whatever story they're trying to tell. But like, there's been a lot of this in Cody's matches where like he will get hit with something that you should quote unquote sell, or it should be like the turn point for a match. Into the opposition's favor to get momentum in the match, and like he'll just no sell on a dime and then like win within 90 seconds. Like he did it with Kingston and did Kingston's first match. He fucking dropped him on glass, and then his hand is raised less than 2 minutes later. What? Pentagon early in the year when he did the fucking arm break spot, and he won like within 90 seconds after that. And then this, and it's like who taught you this, and who convinced you that this was like interesting or fun or like makes your matches better? Because it doesn't.
He wants to be John Cena. Like, I think that's just what it comes down to. He wants this feeling of like things aren't quite right, like the alignments aren't right. He wants to do the movies, he wants to do the charity stuff, and like, oh no, man.
Cool.
Like,
tell better stories. Like, I don't care if you want to do that shit. Look, man, if you want to put,
like, he's literally put himself in opposition of like the alignment. Like, it's like he's I don't know, man. It's exhausting, bro. Like,
I've been saying that for months that he's exhausting.
I'm sorry. Like, I thought AEW was like the clearest promotion where it would be like, all right, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Like, this good guy this wannabe good guy who
I don't even say wannabe. I don't even want to say wannabe. He is a good guy. People are just sick of him.
And then it's like they're pushing him and not acknowledging that. In life,
I'm sorry, there are a number of nice people that you've met in life that are harmless or whatever else that you just like, hey, want no parts to do with them, or want nothing to do with them, or they annoy me. And like Cody right now is in that mode where it's like he does and says the right things. I just don't care for him at this moment. And like, I think that's perfectly fine. I don't mean any ill will towards him. I didn't think, like I said, like this match disgusted me, but like I would not say it was a bad match at all. I would say it was a good match, but it disgusted me like they decided to do that shit in the middle of the match. It was just like, when are you ever going to get to the match where we actually find out who the better person is? Like,
we still haven't found it.
No, we found out who the better man was in the first fucking match. We keep getting further and further away from actual rule of decisive finishes now. The second match was he missed him and then beat him on a roll. Now we have someone no-selling some shit after people ran in a million places. The match has been thrown out because the fucking manager's in the ring. Like, I'm just over it, man.
But we know that those squash matches are like a gimmick and a trope. Right. That he does. So we still don't even have like a definitive like, hey, they went 17 minutes and this person got his hand raised, with a clean win. We don't have that.
Right. And it's annoying because it's like, I never want to see them wrestle each other again.
Bro, like, people ask me if I want to see Cody Rhodes versus Kenny. No. Like,
and then like, I don't know how much of this stuff is actually a legitimate thing where you talk about I'll never turn heel, I'll retire before I turn heel. It's like, hey bro, that's the case, and like, God bless, like, bro, take it to the back.
Yeah, it's like, bro, like, there was a company that had a baby face that was just getting shoved down people's throats that they didn't acknowledge like the relationship like with the audience and like flip that character accordingly. Like, the last 15 years in WWE.
Did you watch Rhodes to the Top, the season
I did
finale? Not. A six episode season. Dude, like, it covers the first and second Malachi Black match. And he's talking about how like he's getting booed and the crowd is not with him. And then like you hear Brandy talk about how like the crowd is fickle. And I was like, oh God, like they have like not Cody, but like she has WCW or WWE brain of like the fans don't know what.
It's like, how did you see this coming?
It's like, no, it's not even that. It's like Cody understands it. Cody's talking about like how like he's struggling with whatever else, and like Brandy's talking about how she wants to come back. When she wants to come back, she wants to come back as a heel, and heels don't work their way from the bottom. They just go straight to the top because everyone thinks I'm evil, so I may as well go to the top. And then Cody is like, look, man, I think people actually genuinely like you, and if you start from the bottom in an earnest way, you'll work your way up. And I'm thinking to myself like, they're both right and both wrong. Like, one,
like if they weren't them, that would be the advice.
Like, one, the real thing for Brandy is, and as much as it is, people really don't want to see her in the ring as a worker. That's the real thing. And if they want to see her on TV, she's best suited to be a heel. But no one wants to see her actually wrestle. But then, like, he was talking about his character in Malachi and talked about himself, and he was like, he was aware of like what his issues are. Like he's the crowd isn't into him, but like Brandy was describing it as like these fans are fickle, and Cody was like, nah, like there's something that I'm missing. I'm trying to figure it out, and you see this after the match has happened. You're just like, he never figured it out. And in fact, it's worse than like it was 3 months ago. So yeah. And then they also covered Tony Khan. Like, they did they went to the back, and he's talking about how like maybe it is time that I do hang it up for a while or whatever else. And he's like, how long? Because and I was like, don't say nothing, fool. Just let him walk. Like, look what he's put on your TV now since he did this. It's like he took the boot off, whatever else. He's like, maybe what if I was done for a while? I was like, he
all
came
right
back. Yeah, and Tony Khan's like,
you got it.
How long? Yeah, he should have just said, all right, well, just hit me up when you're ready. And then like by the time they got done with the second match, he was the New York show. He was like, yeah, he's basically like, a lot of new faces have came in, and I'll be waiting to see those faces. I was like, oh, God damn it,
bro. It's like their whole thing is like how they're gonna have to book him. It was like, remember how they used to book Roman, where it was like, yo, who can we put him in with that the crowd? There's no way in fuck that they would cheer him against, and all those people like are like way lesser.
Right, and none of that stuff actually is like anything you want that should make a AEW card.
Right. So like he has serious issues. So we got a bunch of comments in here. So I will start with this one. A lot of people saying the match, this wasn't anything complex. It was just a bunch of shit to pop the crowd.
Yeah, that's what it was. Smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. Absolutely. And that's why I was disgusted with it. I was like, yo, y'all told us like, in the overarching arc of this with Cody, the whole idea was that Cody just got hit with something that he has never faced before, and how will he match that? And like, what is he going to do to change himself to match that? And the idea was he's going to go back to like the basics, the fundamentals, back to square one and ground one or whatever else, or whatever you call it, the ground floor, and like build himself back up, similar to like if you go think of Rocky 3, right? Like he's basically like going to the black gym and working on the flexibility and agility that he didn't have before to try to face it. But just like the problem with Rocky 3 is that like when you get to the second Clubber Lang match, he ends up winning in the end by just getting his brains beaten in, which is what got him put on the mat the first match, instead of actually like putting any of that agility to use. Like he didn't show any humble beginnings or any scrappiness. He just no-sold the motherfuckers move and beat him seconds later. Like that's the same problem. It's a Rocky 3 problem.
Yeah. Dellin says it's a John Cena story, no real development of the character. Sam also said, I love complex characters that have nuance, but you guys are right that this idea for himself isn't working. Dellin also says Cody has people who would otherwise hate the Cena character to love the Cena character. Only difference is he's at his own island and not at the top.
Can you imagine if it was at the top of AEW?
Like it would be bad. Like, and
why are your main events trash? Like, what they're not? Like, why are your main events like such a leaves you in a fog of confusion?
Yeah. Are you confused?
Unsatisfied. Like that's it. Like, that's the main thing. Like, Cody, outside of the Jericho stuff in November 2019, like, he's been not in main events. And, like, this was, like, his first main event in a while. And, like,
like, it's almost like I want to make a definitive list of people Cody is allowed to beat in AEW, and then the list of people he's not allowed to beat.
I didn't have a problem with Cody beating him. It's just the
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah, that's true. A lot more people are upset about it than I am. And like, I don't necessarily disagree. It just, for me, is like, if you told a correct story for it, where it made sense for Cody to win, then I'd be with it. But they didn't even bother to do that. And I was like, well, if Cody had won, if Cody had lost, he'd be in the same place he was on the card, or the same kind of momentum and status in AEW. And if Malachi had won, he could be a first title challenger for Hangman, or face Darby or CM Punk or Daniel somewhere else. And now it's like, all right, lost to Cody and upper mid Carter. Now what?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a mixed feelings about it, because I was in the building. I did not watch the TV copy of it, so I would probably have to watch that to get a feel of what everyone else is seeing from that perspective. But like I was saying, in the building, like, it was loud and it was like intense.
Yeah, like the crowd, like, that's something I didn't recognize. Like, the crowd was into the ending stretch of that closing stretch of that match in a way that was like, I couldn't fathom, but they were hot for it, so good for them.
Yeah. So, but I don't know, man. There's a lot there, as every time it comes to Cody, like, there's just so much more you can do it, and
more questions than answers.
More questions, and like, it's just, maybe I'm getting worked here or whatever. This is exactly how they want us to react to it and shit. But like, I don't know. I don't feel like Cody's that much of a genius to want to do that.
Well, like
I've seen a babyface getting booed before and not leaning into it. Like, it just makes everything fucking awkward.
Yeah. And like, if this does eventually lead to a heel turn, like, speed it the fuck up then.
Yeah.
Please.
And Sam brings up Brandy saying that the fans were fickle worries me. It ain't happening to anyone else. Like,
that's not my point. It's like, you don't see this problem with, like, any other EVPs. You don't see this problem with any other, like, character in AEW, or and to be quite frankly, like, the last time they had this issue was probably with Britt, and what did they do with her? They turned her heel, and now she's hotter than she's ever been by times 3. So,
like, Cody got way more boos than anybody else. Like, it was like world champion level heel boos, like like someone that you just absolutely fucking hate and disgusted by. Like, that's the boos that Cody was getting. So, I don't know, man. They got to figure it out. But
yeah,
I guess there's only one thing left to do, James. So, hit the music.
Yeah, so this week in Stardom, Speed Round Edition, they started Tag League on Sunday. On Saturday, the show before, they had in the semi-main event, they had a tag match with Hazuki and Koguma versus...
Hold on. Koguma.
versus Hazuki and Koguma versus Kamatani and Momo, and it was basically a all-star tag match that they did, and most of it was focused on a Twitter exchange of, not a Twitter exchange, but Momo had tweeted out something along the lines of, people are interested to see what's going to happen once me and Hazuki get in the ring for the first time in forever, and you'll get to see it in the ring. And basically the match ends up with those two in the ring, and Momo beats the shit out of Hazuki, and Hazuki's still working from underneath. Ultimately ends up going to they end up going back and forth to the wire with her fighting back, and end up going to a time limit draw, 15-minute time limit draw. The main event is Queen's Quest, but Cosmic Angels versus Donna Del Mondo, Shuri, Natsupoi, Micah, and Himeka versus Tam, Mina, Unagi, and Waka. So, the match basically starts out with Cosmic Angels doing their triple team stuff from their trios run with Waka not in the ring because she doesn't know the steps. When they went to the ring, when they did the dance to the ring, Waka is like halfway knows the dance moves, so she's like in and out. Like she might know 1-2 moves for like a couple beats, but then forgets the rest of it. So they tag. So she's so anxious to tag in. And then they tag her in, and then they proceed to beat the shit out of her. All four of them of Donna Del Mondo tagged in and out when they got a piece of her ass. You end up getting an exchange with Tam and Shuri that was excellent. And then they end up going to a double down, and then they end up going Waka versus Natsupoi. Natsupoi is a finisher off after a bunch of saves from moves getting landed on her, and then people run in to save, and then eventually she got finished with Natsupoi winning. And that was Saturday. Sunday was the first day of Tag League. Gotta say, I did not like Tag League as much as everybody else apparently the first day. I saw 2 matches get 3 3/4 ratings on Cage Match, and I thought they were like just like 3s, 3 1/4s. It felt very much like it was second half of back-to-back, and them knees and legs were not firing off, and they were not crisp like they usually are. It felt like they was tired, all of them. So you end up having Hazuki and Kaguma versus, I believe it was the Hannon sisters. I have to pull it up if I can find it. Wrong thing. Bear with me, y'all. I'm sorry. Get your merch. Get your merch. I'm going to use your line, right?
We might have to start doing this on YouTube too. Put your super chats in,
Put your
boys.
Chats. All right. So, yeah. So the undercard, as I mentioned, it was Hazuki and Kaguma versus the Hannon sisters, Hannon and Rina. They just pretty much put the teenagers to sleep, and then Hazuki ended up winning with a. She ends up hitting Rina with the Rings of Saturns, and then hits and then slaps on the choke with it, like the crossface Rings of Saturn. She ends up getting the win. Next match after that was one of Rich's favorites, Fukigen Death with Saki versus Aphrodite, Utami, and Tall Saya Kamatani. The match finishes up with Kamatani versus Death, and Kamatani is hitting her big moves, and Saki's making saves, and they eventually finish Saki off on the floor. So Kamatani then hits Star Crusher, her finisher, the Fisherman Falcon Zero, and gets the pin. And 1, 2, and then Death reverses that shit and sits on her, and Saya couldn't get out, and she got the pin, so she out here smoking Golden Phoenix pack. And then it was a fun little goofy match. Like they kept using the newspapers and the magazines hitting Utami and Saya on the head with them, but like it wasn't a match where they were trying to have a great match. So the next match after that,
I don't know where my cigar went.
Oh God!
Okay.
So
leave it out this week.
So main event, you end up getting Starlight Kid and Roaka versus Momo Oz, Momo and Azumi. And it is great whenever it is very good whenever Starlight Kid's in the ring. But it is not when Roaka's in the ring, obviously. And the next pay-per-view is going to be Starlight Kid versus Momo. They have already done this press conference before this show, and Starlight Kid wanted to put her belt on the line to challenge Momo. Momo has been chasing after the red belt since let's say probably like 2020. And she has no interest. She's a former white belt champ. She has no interest in challenging for her white belt. So she definitely has no interest in challenging for the high speed belt. And also she hasn't done high speed stuff since she was like a real teen. Like she was before she fucked up her knee in 2017. She was like 17 at the time. So she's not interested, but Starlight Kid keeps pushing buttons on her. And by the end of this match, after it goes to a draw and everything, she says, Starlight Kid says on the lines of, "Hey, like, if you do not challenge me for my high speed belt, you are running away from me. Like, what happened to you? Like, are you even the leader of Queen's Quest anymore?" And then like that was it. Momo grabbed her by the hair and put her ass against the ropes and said, "You know what? I'll take your little fucking belt, and when I beat you, I'll hand it back to you." So before the match, Azumi asked her, "Are you going to challenge for it? Like, if you challenge for it, it's fine. I know, I've been one-time champion. I want it back, but like, if you're facing the champion, if you want to challenge for it, go ahead. I have no problems with it." So, then after that, Momo's like, "I got buzz from Azumi. You've pissed me off. I'm gonna beat your ass." So that'll be at the Kawasaki Super Wars. And then the main event was Tam and Mina versus Shuri and Micah. And this match was a whole lot of good, but no great. Kind of surprising. They wrestled like they were going towards a 20-minute time limit draw. And then like when it ended in like 13 minutes and change, I was like, wait, that's it? Match ends when Micah hits Tam with the Michinoku driver. This is the first time Tam's been pinned in a tag match in maybe this year. So she is pinned. And then the weird thing is like Micah's not, because Micah has the next defense for the next pay-per-view for the red belt. She beat Utami in the Grand Prix. She doesn't say like, "I just pinned the white belt champion, so I want a title shot." It was just like, it is what it is. It's cool. And I was like, okay. So Unagi gets on the mic and she asked Tam, like, "Why didn't you pick me to be in tag league?" And then Tam says, "Well, I believe in Mina. So like, that's why we did it." And, then Tam says like, "Look, you're taking this too lighthearted. Like this title shot you're getting, like you're facing somebody that's willing to die, that's been willing to die for this white belt before. Like that's what you're dealing with." And then Unagi's like, I'm going to make the belt about love or whatever else." And then I was like, all right, well, you gonna love when she drops you in your fuck.
If you're looking for a real
right,
love,
don't come around here. Not for that white belt, because you finna love when she drops you in your fucking head. Come a couple weeks from now. So that's more or less the end of it. And then Shuri and Micah did the sign off, and that was it. So like they're the leaders in the clubhouse right now. Them and Hazuki and Kaguma. So that's pretty much it for this past weekend, or not this past weekend, but the weekend before. There were no shows this past weekend. So next weekend there'll be 2 shows, and then the pay-per-view is Wednesday on the 3rd. So it's a national holiday on the 3rd of November in Japan. So they're running it then.
Gotcha. So we've actually, I waited till this segment. I forgot. We did have the PWI Women's 150 come out. We'll go through the top 10 briefly. We did have 3 people from Stardom in the top 10, 2 in the main roster of WWE, 2 in NXT, 2 from AEW, 1 from Impact. So number 10, Raquel Gonzalez. I don't think she was particularly impressive after she won the belt. Her lead up into winning it was getting her over. But after that,
the tag team stuff with Dakota, her beating Rhea in War Games, Women's War Games, the first match they had, the Hoss battle that went on basically like side by side with Hangman and Wardlow. And then their awesome match that I gave 4.5 stars on New Year's Evil. That's her case. She won the title. It was a pretty good match. Not a great match, but a pretty good match. And same for her defense against Dakota. Pretty good. But she's on a dead brand.
Yeah.
She's on a dead brand. And they're not protecting her with the opponents that she used to have. Or they were building her with when they had Rhea and Io and Dakota and Ember.
So she beats everyone. She rarely takes falls. So I think that's kind of why
she's well protected and all that kind of stuff. Just, yeah. Her stock is going down and it's no fault of her own because of what's happened to the brand she's on, the promotion she's on, or if you will. So
number 9, Tam Nakano.
Yeah. In Stardom this year, she made it the biggest show in the company's history. Has that worst second best match in the company to do it. Super successful, or the leader of a super successful faction as far as moving merchandise. Well protected. One of the top 5 biggest stars in the company. Well, one of the 3 biggest stars in the company. For in-ring performer, from an in-ring performance perspective, she's top 3 in the company this year. Stardom's grown super, very large. 5 years ago, they don't get 3 people in the top 5 or top 10 of this. Part of that growth involves her.
Yeah, I echo pretty much everything you said. She's been involved in some really great feuds over the last year, and her getting that white belt meant a lot to a lot of people that followed this stuff, even harder than I do per se. And you can't understate being a faction leader and also that faction thriving under you. Yeah. Number 8, Io Shirai. So after Io's lost the belt, she's kind of fallen into the abyss. Even though she's a tag team champion, those belts are literally mud. Mean nothing. But yeah, Io for a long time was carrying like she was the ace in NXT. And ever since she ain't been the champion, she's been real different down there.
Yeah. She, after she lost that belt, she took a month or 2 off. Can't remember how long it was, but
didn't get called up.
Yeah. Given the grading period for this, or the evaluation period for this, the first, a little, probably 60% of it was when she was the champion. So that is what has her up here this high. That work alone is her as a champion and her defenses. And then, the rest of it is more or less don't even think about that part. Just think about the first 7 months of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Number 6, Sasha Banks, number 7, was Shuri of Stardom. For my money, this is the best women's wrestler in the world. We talked about that on this show, before. She's been excellent. Just a warrior. If I had to describe her in one word, any style, main events, short matches, wrestling younger wrestlers, you always are going to get high quality out of Shuri. And she's she has multiple belts on right now too.
Yeah. SWA champion. So she is in theory, a mid-tier champion for that belt, especially because no guidance are in because of COVID. But after Julia lost the white belt to Tam, the very next month they made them the tag champions, and that has been the only thing that has made Julia relevant this year since getting shaved bald. To be honest with you, they said that she was going to win the Grand Prix, and creatively that sounds that would have been a terrible idea. This is a way better thing. Shuri chasing after the red belt in dedication of her mother, who passed away last year. That's a much more entertaining story than whatever they were going to make up for to just invent for Utami versus Julia. So, but as far as Shuri's year, like I mentioned, the tag stuff, the singles matches, the match that went the fuck off on June 12th, that got Stardom more Western eyes than ever before. The Grand Prix, winning that tournament this year, the way that it presented with, you know, it being buoyed by three pay-per-views, and like for her to go have four great matches on those 3 pay-per-views to win the thing, like that, you know, she's the most important Grand Prix winner we've ever had because of the eyes on it. And that definitely boosted her year. Like she's just, and then from in-ring quality, I mean, except for Shingo and Omega, in Ishii or whatever else, someone in G1. Like, unless you're in the G1 or you're Kenny Omega, you haven't had a better year in ring than her. You just haven't.
Yeah. Number 6, Sasha Banks. I think this one is, this is strictly off the like WrestleMania main event. Literally, she has nothing else after that. Even before that, she has matches against Carmella that she held together.
When was the start of the evaluation period? Like, does it include Hell in a Cell?
I think it does.
If it includes Hell in a Cell, you have the Hell in a Cell culmination of the thing with Bayley. You know, I think from a storytelling perspective, that match was stupid, even though I think the action was very good because they beat the crap out of each other. But there's one chair when there's 40 other chairs. Why are you fighting over this one particular chair? Who gives a fuck? But whatever. Right. Match still very, very fucking good.
They for me, they didn't have really anything interesting for her after. Yeah. The Bianca feud was horrible.
The match, and then the match went the fuck off. The match went the fuck off, and ultimately, what we say with WWE stuff all the time, if they save it in the ring, and no one will remember, like very few people remember how bad a feud stunk, and that seems to be the case when you look at a lot of Sasha Banks stuff. Like no one remembers how bad or how nothing those like, interactions were on the mic between Charlotte and Sasha in 2016. You know what I know? Because they're about to do it again right now. So she made it in WrestleMania. She had for a lot of people the best match in WWE this year. For me, it's a top 5-ish type of thing in WWE this year if you include NXT. So yeah, I you know, it's the biggest wrestling promotion in the world, and she main evented, you know, one of their 2 biggest shows. Yeah, that's enough.
Number 5, Thunder Rosa. So that was a joy to see for me. Huge Thunder Rosa fan. So like I've talked about what I feel like her impact is on women's wrestling beyond AEW. Even like she comes in AEW and basically
NWA until recently in AEW. Like she is, she would be the indie pick in theory.
Like she, like talking about owning your own promotion, like being a role model for women in wrestling, and being a fucking great wrestler yourself, and like basically getting the ball rolling on the improvement of the AEW women's division, then eventually signing with AEW. Her match with Britt Baker, who is number 4 on the list. Thunder's been awesome, and I think she's got potential to even go higher the next time this list comes out.
Agreed. So you said that was 5?
Yep, that was 5. Number 4 is Britt Baker. Yeah. Perhaps the most over women's wrestler in the world. One of the most over wrestlers as a champion. You'll see electric on the mic. Matches are better or coming along. But she's a fucking star. Like, that's sometimes star power just makes you forget about, you know, if someone doesn't do a wrist lock the right way or botches a move or something like that.
She's been the champion since what, February?
No, May.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She lost it before this. So she's been champion since May. She has been on the mic, super hot at different points, hottest fish grease at different points throughout the evaluation period. She carries herself like a star. She dresses like a star. She presents herself like a star. They present her like a star. And that's most of the battle. Like she got most of the stuff done outside the ring. And pro wrestling is more than just being in the ring. As much as I don't like hearing that, but that's the truth. So from that perspective, she did that. And then, like, you know, once you get into the ring, she has one of the best matches of the year. So, like, if you want to say, like, she doesn't, like, she can't hold it up to a Shuri, which she can't, like, she has one of the best matches of the year. So, you know, and she has that in the bloody mat, the second time she got her face covered in blood, like, that's another iconic picture for AEW history. So, like, she had herself a year.
Deonna Purrazzo is number 3. So she has 2 different belts during the evaluation period. She was the Impact champion a long time before she actually lost the belt this weekend.
Yep.
On top. Like, I don't know, man.
Lost to that MILF money. MILF money long.
Yeah. Deonna Purrazzo, a lot of people go hard for her. I think she is kind of like Joe Louis beating bums in a month, but this isn't the time for that.
She is somebody that I think that, well, let's just start from here. As somebody that originally was a 0 as a promo, to see where she's became over the last, you know, year or two is very impressive. On the mic and building programs, very, very solid technical wrestler as she's always been, and she has very good matches. And she has good defenses. So, and that's really all you can ask for out of that division. A division I think is overblown, like the kind of talk they get, but like they had a true world women's champion.
Yep, and she had 2 belts. So,
yep.
Number 2, Utami. Okay, so I guess we might as well do it how we did Kenny and Roman. So, we have Utami here, and then Bianca was number 1. Utami's number 2. I think the politics of the magazine would not allow Utami to be number 1 on something like this, especially you're in the business of trying to sell magazines.
It's an American magazine.
Yep.
Like, unless we're talking about, hell, I don't even know. I didn't even have it back then, but like, I don't think there's ever been a Japanese woman be the number 1 rated woman on the PWI list ever. And and it is what it is, right? Like, if all things were being equal, 1, 2, and 3 would be, you know, Utami, Tam, and Shuri in whatever order. So it is what it is. It's fine. Like, Bianca won a main event of WrestleMania. She is she might be the fucking dinosaur. We talking about Dwight Howard Wrestling Show, how she the last dinosaur as the comet drops. She might be the last, honest to goodness, top of the card baby face that people actually like and enjoy and endear. She might be the last one Vince McMahon ever has in his life. So, you know, this thing had with Becky Lynch happened, and it caught her jet some, and it stunk, and a lot of people are holding on to her because they realized that she got handed a bad hand. She also got demoted to Raw, but as a young prospect that came in, she is one of the best that the NXT PC or the PC or whatever else ever came up with. Like, I mean, outside of the quote unquote horsewoman in Charlotte, like, was the last one that was this damn good.
Yeah, I do think her case for number 1 is pretty shallow. You know,
I agree because the Bayley stuff sucked, but whatever.
The Bayley stuff like stung. I think the matches were better than
the build.
Yeah, better than the build.
Yeah.
I think like they didn't have a clue what to do with her until she won the Royal Rumble. Until she had the great match with Sasha at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, like, you're left with like a landfill of like just nothing. Like the build for her, and she's losing tag team matches. Mm-hmm. Like, she did a lot of losing for someone that ended up number 1. Mm-hmm. This strictly comes down to the WrestleMania main event. I feel like
I agree,
and
yeah. I think that's exactly what it is. But it's, you know, it's still American. It's still American Wrestling Kayfabe magazine, and it's still WrestleMania. Like, you know, we can't compare resumes we can't compare resumes between Utami and Bianca. Like, what's the point? We know, but it is what it is. Like, you know, I was comparing to like anybody in the top 5 in Stardom, but it is what it is.
Yeah, if I was making this list, Tommy would have probably been number one. But yeah, those were the folks on the list. Also, Keith Lee came out and did an interview before we wrap this up.
Hands on.
Yep. It said Vince McMahon was hands on with the Bearcat Right stuff. I believe he was speaking to the house organ and Ryan Satin. And this was the perfect opportunity for Keith Lee to give us any extra additional information that he wanted us to know about this, any influences that may have rubbed off on this, why we're suddenly calling him Bearcat or anything like that. James, I'm going to pull up what Keith Lee had to say.
Okay.
And I thought it was, pretty telling about what it was and what it wasn't, So he was like, he was asked how much of his true self is in his character. Lee said it depends on which character you're talking about. Previously, if you're referring to anything at NXT, which they definitely weren't, Keith, when I came up to the main roster, I would say there really wasn't a character. It was just me being me, having fun, enjoying myself. That was just me turned up to a certain level that was above average. Bearcat has some relevance to who I am, but in a competitive level, almost football related. Just a guy who wants to get business done. Bearcat is a guy who walks out there already ready to decimate whoever is in the ring. It's a real interesting switch for sure. And then he went further into the new character, and then he would talk about Vince McMahon's influence on his new gimmick. He would also say, I say he's quite hands-on, which is something I need because I want to know as opposed to making a guess or estimation or hypothesis. If I know what he wants directly, it makes it that much easier to give him what he's looking for. He runs this. He's the man. If he wants a specific thing out of his talent, then the talent is to give him what he wants. Now, James, what did I not hear in any of that?
Go ahead.
I did not hear that it was a fucking tribute to Bearcat Wright, you fucking simpletons, you morons that have bent yourself all the way over backward until you came out on the other side, making up your own shit to explain Vince McMahon not understanding him, to all of a sudden portray WWE as this pro-black company, like, to this grift that people are buying into. This is not Keith Lee's request. It never came out anywhere before this. He had an interview with the perfect opportunity, the perfect platform to bring this up. It wasn't anywhere. It's not on screen. It's nothing more than WWE owning legacy IP at this point with Bearcat Wright and putting him in the legacy wing of their goofy Hall of Fame and passing it on to this wrestler that Vince doesn't understand or get. And he's working like, 1980s big man who has been imported into the territory. Congratulations. We have Big John Studd. You people need to stop this. This is cap. This is bullshit. And I would just rather you be honest with yourselves instead of making shit up. Rich Latta, right once again.
So that's the end of the show. Thanks for listening, y'all. Hit us up on Twitch. Rich, you have the links or information for Twitch, or
yeah, you can just go follow me. I think it's twitch.tv/Rich Latta, if I'm not mistaken. You can catch the show Mondays on here, and follow us on Twitter.
Yeah,
James, you have no thoughts on the Keith Lee?
I mean, not really. Like I saw a video package of him like killing like
clawing to the top.
I didn't see a clawing to the top thing. I just saw a vignette where he's like just smashing people, and he's clearly a heel now. And I was like, oh, okay, he's a heel. So like, he's playing into an archetype that Vince McMahon has had before. And they're in AEW now, so like, and they can't work anymore. So now they made a new one, even though it's like he can do so much more. But whatever. Like, that's a nice spot to be in if he follows through with it. He being Vince, so we'll see where this goes. Like I don't really have an issue. obviously, I think Keith Lee makes more sense as a babyface. He's a naturally likable person, but like if he can just beat ass on people forever or whatever, he might get a higher, faster tracking to get up the card faster if they're actually committed to this. So we'll see, and what we'll see is like I'm skeptical because like Vince is a net booker, so it doesn't matter like what's working or what may be a new change for now. Like I'm thinking about 6 months from now. In 6 months from now, will he be on pay-per-view? I don't fucking know. I can't trust this booker.
It sounds like Andre the Giant Battle Royal to me. I don't know, man.
Could be. So check us out on, hit us up on our Red Circle, the donation page, and ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and pick up some official Social Suplex Network merchandise. And, listen to other shows on the network besides One Nation Radio. You have Keepin It Strong Style. You have the Ricky Clive, Wrestling Show. You have Grown and Watch Your Shit. You have the Grave Consequences podcast. You have 8-Bit Suplex. You have All Things Elite. And you also have Great Match Generator. And also Sam's podcast.
Shout out to Sir Sam.
I forgot the name of it, but he is reviewing the 50 greatest AEW matches so far.
It's like the AEW Match Guide podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
AEW Match Guide podcast. Okay. Yeah. So check that out. I don't know the day that comes out on the schedule.
I think it's like first week of November or something. I know I'm on the second episode.
Okay. So I'll get this straightened out by the time we do next week's show. So thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.